My child, stop everything. I need to talk to you, and it has to be right now. Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. Not when your schedule clears or your emotions stabilize. Right now. Because something divine is colliding with your timeline, and if you scroll past or halfway listen, you'll miss the moment I created to change everything. I've come to confront what's been constraining you, to whisper what the noise drowned out, to deliver answers you didn't even know you were finally ready to hear. So don't move. Don't multitask. Don't save this for later. Later won't carry the weight that now holds. Later might cost you the clarity I've hidden in these next few moments. I'm speaking to you. Not in general. Not to the crowd. But to you. The one I've been pursuing beneath the surface of every silence. Behind every delay. Beneath every unanswered prayer. So lean in. Brace your spirit. Because by the time this ends, you'll know without a doubt. I've been speaking, and I meant for you to hear me right now. I have stepped into your atmosphere not because I found you by chance, but because this second was etched into eternity as the moment I would call you deeper, higher, closer. You've been rushing, haven't you? From task to task, thought to thought, worry to worry, hoping that somewhere in the middle of it all, you find peace. But peace isn't found in the whirlwind. It's found in my whisper. And child, I am whispering now, not because I am far, but because I am near. So close, you can feel the air around you shifting, your heartbeat slowing, your spirit leaning in. That's not stillness by accident. That's me. I am speaking, and your soul recognizes the voice it was made to follow. I've paused the rhythm of your routine with purpose. You've gone too long carrying weights I never placed on you. I watched you manage everyone else's needs while ignoring the signals of your own spirit crying out for rest, for clarity, for confirmation. And so, I interrupted. Not with chaos, but with holy stillness. I am stopping the traffic of your distractions to deliver something sacred. You may have thought you needed answers, but what you need first is awareness. Awareness of me, right here. I orchestrated this moment because I've seen how close you are to breaking while pretending to be fine. I saw how the heaviness built layer by layer. Expectations, disappointments, silent sacrifices. And while you thought I was distant in those nights you cried beneath the weight of it all, I was kneeling beside you, waiting for the stillness that would make you finally hear me. That stillness has arrived, child. Don't waste it. This isn't a pause for comfort. It's a pause for transformation. What I will unfold next will not come through more striving, but through surrender. Be still. Be here. Be mine. Entirely. Because I'm not moving on until you realize that this moment isn't one of many, it's the one I've been waiting to give you. My beloved child, listen. Truly listen. Because though your mind has been searching, your spirit already knows. It has been alert while your emotions were overwhelmed. It had been awake while your soul was weary. That strange urgency in your chest, the one you tried to label as anxiety, as stress, as simply too much, was not disorder. It was divine. It was the sound of your spirit responding to something eternal. You couldn't name it because it didn't come from this world. You couldn't describe it because language bows in the presence of what I've deposited in you. That stirring, that restless ache, that whisper in the stillness, in the middle of ordinary moments. That was me. That was your soul remembering the sound of your origin, the breath that gave you life before you were ever touched by trauma. You've been mistaking my pull for pressure, but child, the pressure isn't punishment. It's positioning. It's my voice vibrating within you, shaking loose the sleep that fear tried to sedate you with. And I need you to know this. Your spirit is not confused. It's been aligned with my purpose since before you took your first breath. That's why it leaps when truth hits the air. That's why it trembles when I speak. It recognizes me. You've asked yourself, why am I feeling this way? But I ask you, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't your spirit react to the weight of what I'm preparing to pour? You were made for more than management. You were made for movement. And your spirit senses the shift before your circumstances catch up. That's why the restlessness won't leave. It's holy. It's heaven's way of knocking, not with fists but with fire. You've been trying to silence it with schedules, with scrolling, with noise. But I won't let you settle anymore. Not when you're this close. You think you're exhausted from effort, but you're really weary from resisting what your spirit already accepts. That's the contradiction you've been carrying. The collision between who you pretend to be and who I created you to become. But hear me. This is the moment the pretending ends. I'm not calling the polished version of you. I'm calling the present one. The raw, real, reaching version of you that doesn't have the answers but refuses to stop asking. The one that still lifts hands in the dark. The one that still shows up when it would be easier to shut down. That's who I came for. And that's who's waking up right now. Your mind is catching up to what your spirit has known all along. This moment is sacred. My child, something just shifted, not outside of you, but within. The atmosphere around you has changed because my presence has saturated it. You may not see it with your eyes, but you can feel it. The invisible just interrupted the visible. This is not imagination. It's invasion. I have invaded your moment with majesty. I stepped into your ordinary space and made it a throne room. Your bedroom, your car, your living room. Wherever you are right now, it has become holy ground. My robe is sweeping the floor where your fears once lived. My glory is crowding out the sorrow that used to echo through the silence. And no, you didn't hear a trumpet, but your spirit did. Because my arrival doesn't always sound like thunder. Sometimes it sounds like peace. The peace that just pressed against your chaos. The peace that doesn't ask questions. It just is. My nearness is not symbolic. I am not an idea. I am a presence. I am a person. I am your God, and I am in the room with you. Not in theory. Not in metaphor. In reality. In this very breath. Heaven is here, and it has turned this moment into a meeting. Your pain summoned my power. Your ache became an altar. And I could not stay silent when your soul finally stilled long enough to sense me. You thought this would just be another word, another fleeting encouragement to get you through the day. But child, this is more than that. This is your invitation into encounter. This is the door I've been trying to open, and you just walked through it. The second your heart began to lean in, I leaned closer. I didn't wait for you to perform. I didn't need you to fix yourself first. I just needed your pause. Your whisper of surrender. And now the room is charged. Not with emotion, but with intention. By intention. You are not imagining the weight you feel right now. That heaviness is a depression returning, its divine presence descending. The trembling in your chest, the tears in your eyes, the sudden quiet in your spirit. It's all a response to glory. I am closer than your breath, and I am bringing something with me. I didn't come empty-handed. I came with keys to doors that have mocked your prayers. I came with oil for the wounds that never fully healed. I came with blueprints, strategies that don't make sense to the world but were designed in the war rooms of heaven for such a time as this. Yes, child, the room just shifted. and nothing will be the same. Not because of your striving, but because of my stepping in. I stepped into your reality, and from this moment forward, what was locked must unlock, what was heavy must lift, and what was hidden must be revealed. This is not a temporary encounter. It is a holy turning point. And you were chosen to experience it. My beloved, listen to me with the same silence that falls when your soul finally exhales. This moment, this divine encounter, wasn't created by coincidence. It was coordinated, orchestrated, designed in the secret place before time wore skin. You may have thought you stumbled upon this message accidentally, like an unexpected breeze brushing your face. But nothing about this is random. It was woven into your timeline with threads of intention. I routed distractions. I delayed other things. I stirred your spirit at just the right second so you would pause here and read this line. Because heaven has a way of making interruptions feel like accidents, but they are anything but. His moment was written before the woo. I placed it like a seed in your story, waiting for it to bloom when your heart finally became tender enough to receive the fullness of what I've been waiting to say. This isn't emotional fluff. This is divine strategy. Every delay that led you here, every detour that didn't make sense, was a holy hand steering you to this collision, where your ache meets my answer. You see, child, I have been moving things around behind the veil, adjusting what you couldn't perceive, shifting timelines, canceling counterfeit connections, closing doors with grace so I could open this one with glory. And though you only see a sliver of what I've done, it was all designed for this breath. Let me speak this clearly, you are not late. You didn't miss your moment. You didn't fall behind. You arrived exactly when the coordinates of my will lined up with the cry of your spirit. This wasn't about perfect behavior. It was about perfect timing. I watched you feel overlooked, forgotten, even abandoned. But what felt like abandonment was actually alignment. I was synchronizing the unseen with the ordained. Like a conductor who hears every note before it's played, I've been arranging this divine composition with precision. And now, the music has begun. The movement has been activated. The divine detour is revealing its purpose, and you are standing in the center of what I orchestrated. Don't dismiss this moment because it doesn't look grand. I often wrap the miraculous in the mundane so that only those with surrendered hearts will recognize its worth. What you're feeling isn't fleeting. It's fulfillment. It's the evidence that the coordinates of heaven just met the cry of your spirit. And this sacred collision was always meant to find you. You've wondered, haven't you? In the stillness of the night, when your thoughts run unchecked and your heart begins to ache in quiet places no one else sees, you've asked if anyone truly notices what you're carrying. The way you've had to smile while breaking. The way you kept showing up while silently falling apart. And child, I need you to hear this with your spirit wide open. I see you. Not in passing. Not as a face in the crowd. I see you with the eyes of the one who formed your innermost being. I've watched your private pain like a symphony, every silent sob, every whispered prayer, every moment you chose kindness instead of collapsing. I saw the tension in your shoulders you didn't speak about. I saw the courage it took to get out of bed when your soul was heavy with disappointment. You thought no one noticed. But heaven not only noticed, it reported every moment. Your name has echoed in rooms angels gather. And the reason you felt overlooked by the world is because you've been hidden in me. Not hidden to be forgotten, hidden to be preserved. Let me make this plain. Your invisible obedience has shaken visible realms. While others performed for applause, you planted in the dark. You didn't know it, but those seeds were sacred. And now I'm sending rain. I didn't let the spotlight hit you early because your roots needed to grow deep enough to carry what I'm about to release. You weren't ignored. You were incubated. Like oil pressed in silence, you were being refined. And I watched it all with fierce affection. I watched you choose mercy over revenge. I watched you pray for others while no one prayed for you. I watched you give when it cost you peace. And I say again, child, you are seen. Not by a distant God, but by a near Father. I have not only seen your journey, I have wept over it, rejoiced in it, and preserved its every page in the archives of eternity. And now, because you dared to remain unseen by men, I am preparing to reveal what only heaven could have cultivated. The very places where you felt invisible are about to become stages for my glory, but not for your ego, for your testimony. The world will see, not because you chased visibility, but because you remained faithful in obscurity. I will make your visibility match your value, not based on performance, but based on the purity of your surrender. I see you, child. I have always seen you. And now the world is about to see what I've hidden for such a time as this. My beloved, lean closer, because what I'm speaking into you today isn't merely comfort to soothe your wounds. It's activation to awaken your spirit. I didn't come to pat your head and tell you to hold on a little longer. I came to ignite what's been buried. I came to stir what's been sleeping. You have cried long enough. You've waited silently in hallways of hesitation, hoping someone would notice your potential, wishing for a whisper of approval just to keep going. But today, I'm not whispering, I'm roaring. I'm roaring into your bones the sound of your awakening. My words aren't soft suggestions. They are blueprints, battleground orders, divine decrees sent to resurrect what life tried to suffocate. This is not encouragement for another passive pause. This is activation for a prophetic push. I am handing you the keys not to a temporary boost, but to a permanent door. You stood at the edge of change long enough. Today I'm walking you through. You don't need more confirmation, child. You prayed for signs, begged for clarity, asked for one more voice to validate what I already whispered. But what I gave you wasn't just a dream or a feeling. It was evidence from eternity. The restlessness inside you wasn't random. It was a divine pregnancy, the groaning of purpose pressing against delay. And now the contractions of destiny are getting stronger. I am not giving you a lullaby. I am giving you marching orders. This is the moment when heaven activates what hell tried to hold back. When you think, is this just another comforting word? Know this, no, child. This is confrontation against everything that dared to silence your voice. This is heaven clapping back at every lie that said you were not enough. This is me lifting your chin, locking eyes with your heart, and saying, now, rise. Now build. Now move. This word isn't passive. It's power-laced. It is the unlocking of doors that fear tried to bolt shut. And it's not only unlocking you, it's unlocking generations after you. This activation is generational, transformational, undeniable. You didn't just stumble into this moment. I summoned you into it. And now I breathe life into every God seed planted in your past. It's time. My precious one, I've watched you carry 1,000 invisible burdens with trembling hands and a trembling heart. I've seen how you've mastered the art of appearing okay while silently drowning beneath waves of pressure. You've worn strength like armor, but I know how heavy it has become. And here's what I need you to hear in the depth of your soul. That weight was never yours to carry alone. It was too heavy, too jagged, too suffocating. You were never created to be the hero of your own rescue, the soul lifter of your burdens. the lone soldier in the war that has waged against your soul. No, child. I have been watching you try to hold it all together, and now I step in. This is the moment I come, not as a distant observer, but as your burden bearer, as the lifter of your head, as the one who does not need you to be strong in order to come close. I am drawn to the broken pieces. I am near to the shattered. I am the God who sits with you in the rubble and says, "Let me carry what crushed you." You've cried behind closed doors thinking no one knew. But I knew. I knew every layer of the pressure you kept hidden. I knew the nights you laid your head down and whispered, "I can't do this much longer." And I didn't flinch. I didn't judge you. I leaned closer. I collected every tear. I weighed every sigh. I stood over you while you slept, not disappointed, but desperate for this moment right here. The moment I could finally say, "Give it to me. For real this time." You've tried to hand me parts of the weight, but today I'm asking for it all. The financial strain, the emotional dormant, the fractured relationships, the fears you can't speak aloud, the bitterness you've tried to pray away but still feel in your chest. Yes, all of it. I can handle what has broken you. I am not scared of your pain. I do not shrink at your mess. I am the God who enters chaos, not avoids it. And today, I am offering not just comfort, but exchange. Your weight for my wonder, your fatigue for my fire, your dread for my direction. Let me in, child. I didn't come to observe your exhaustion. I came to end it. Listen with the ears of your soul, because this truth is one that will untangle the lies that wrap themselves around your waiting. The delay was never denial. It wasn't rejection. It wasn't divine punishment. It wasn't the absence of love. It was the abundance of precision. You crying, "Why not now?" While I whispered, "Because I love you too much to give you less than perfect." You interpreted the silence as my absence, but the truth is, I was too near, too involved, too invested to rush what required refining. I wasn't ignoring your prayer. I was perfecting your answer. I didn't abandon your breakthrough. I was aligning it with heaven's eternal rhythm. If I had opened the door when you first knocked, you wouldn't have had the strength to stand in the room. If I had said yes to that request when your voice trembled in desperation, you might have clung to the gift and forgotten the giver. So I waited, not from cruelty but from covenant. I waited because I saw the layers still maturing, the roots still growing, the foundation still solidifying beneath your pain. And though it hurt, I never let go of the timeline I had tailored for your soul. You must know this now. Your process was not punishment. It was preservation. I wasn't taking from you. I was making space within you to hold what's coming. Had I released the promise too soon, it would have collapsed under pressure. But now, the delay has done its holy work. Your heart has learned to lean, not just long. Your prayers are not shallow wishes. They've become war cries. Your hope has matured into an anchor. The waiting didn't weaken you. It fortified you. And the reason you're still standing, still seeking, still sensitive, is because even in the silence, your spirit knew. I was doing something deeper than what you could see. I was rearranging things in dimensions beyond time so the outcome wouldn't just be good. It would be God-ordained. The blessing you're about to receive won't look like the one you begged for, because I upgraded it while you weren't looking. You were asking for survival. I was preparing legacy. You asked for a little peace. I've arranged a life of purpose. That's why the wait felt so long. Because what I am giving you wasn't delayed. It was being developed. And now, child, the time has come. And when it arrives, it will be clear that the delay was never denial, it was divine design. You feel it. That tightness in your chest, the restlessness in your spirit, the stirring that refuses to be silenced. That is not frustration, it's divine friction. You are feeling the pressure not because something is wrong, but because something is growing. You've outgrown what once held you. The space you used to find comfort and now feels confining because I'm expanding your spirit beyond old limitations. You're trying to fit into patterns, relationships, environments, and roles that no longer reflect your identity. And it's painful, isn't it? The way peace seems to slip through familiar routines. The way your soul feels too large for places you once called safe. But child, that is not failure. That is formation. You are molting, shedding skins that once served you but cannot follow you. The discomfort is not punishment. It's prophecy. It's evidence that I am enlarging your territory, stretching your vision, and calling you out from the shadows of what was into the light of what is becoming. Don't cling to what I am calling you out of. I know it was familiar. I know it felt like home. But I didn't create you to be confined by comfort. I designed you to be carved by calling. You've been asking me for direction while clinging to distractions. But now, the doors you once begged to remain open are closing, not to hurt you, but to honor who you're becoming. I am severing soul ties that disguise themselves as security. I'm shifting the scenery so you won't mistake the wilderness for your final destination. That frustration you feel isn't a sign that you're lost. It's the sound of your wings forming. I'm not just releasing you into a new place. I'm releasing a new you. The one who stopped apologizing for your anointing. The one who no longer shrinks to fit rooms that can't hold your destiny. The one who knows that the weight of your call is greater than the comfort of staying small. Don't mourn what you've outgrown. Mourn would mean you've lost something. But child, you're gaining. You're stepping into spaces that were tailor-made for the future version of you. The one I saw before you ever doubted your worth. So breathe. Let go. Don't try to resurrect what I've already buried. If the door won't open, it's not rejection. It's redirection. If the people can't hear you, it's not your fault. It's your elevation. When you feel displaced, remember this. I'm not pushing you out. I'm pulling you forward. What once held you can no longer contain you. The time of stretching has arrived, and with it comes release. You are not being stripped. You are being sized for your next dimension. So stop trying to shrink back into old seasons. You don't belong there anymore. You don't fit, not because something's broken, but because something has been built. You've outgrown the old shell. You've exceeded the space of survival. And now you're stepping into sacred expansion. You're not stuck. You're being summoned. You've looked for my voice in the thunder, searched for confirmation in the sky, longed for signs so big they'd silence your doubt once and for all. But let me draw you close and reveal what your spirit has been trying to tell you. I've been speaking in the small things. I've whispered through interruptions you thought were inconveniences. I've moved in moments you labeled mundane. A detour last week. A delay you didn't understand. The quiet nudge you felt during a casual conversation. A dream you almost forgot upon waking. Every single one of those moments was me. I've been speaking in symbols wrapped in silence. I've been placing breadcrumbs of revelation beneath your feet. You've been waiting for fireworks, but I've been painting truth into your everyday like brushstrokes on the canvas of your life. Why? Because I'm not just the God of burning bushes. I'm the God of breath. I'm not limited to signs in the sky. I'm embedded in the sacred ordinary. You keep asking God to speak to me. But beloved, I already am. You're just learning to recognize my rhythm. See, you've been trained to believe that only the loud things are real. But I taught Elijah my nature in a whisper. Why? Because only those who lean in can hear whispers. Only those who slow down can recognize divine patterns in common places. And you've been learning this slowly, deeply, painfully at times, but learning nonetheless. When the music stopped, when the applause faded, when the crowd disappeared, what was left? Stillness. And in that stillness, you notice things you used to ignore. The flicker of peace in a moment of fear. The way a verse echoed in your chest long after you closed the page. The sentence someone said that hit like lightning. That wasn't coincidence. That was coordination. That was my voice clothed in subtlety, so it would bypass your intellect and pierce your spirit. I was never silent. I was strategic. I hid my voice in places you'd only find when desperation made you sensitive enough to seek. So now, don't just listen with your ears. Listen with your heart. Don't just search for proof, search for presence. Because I'm speaking, child. Always have been. You're just finally still enough to hear. And now that you're hearing me more clearly, I need to tell you something deeply important. Don't dismiss the divine clues. The enemy's strategy is subtle, not always to destroy, but to distract. If he can convince you that what I'm doing is insignificant, he can rob you of revelation while it's still in seed form. But child, the signs are everywhere. The patterns, the timing, the echoes. I've been planting divine fingerprints on your days. Repetition is not redundancy, it's revelation. You keep seeing the same numbers, hearing the same phrase, encountering the same scenario in different forms. That's not your mind playing tricks. That's my hand pressing in. Heaven leaves clues, not because I'm playing games, but because I'm training your discernment. Each confirmation, no matter how small, is a breadcrumb to breakthrough. But if you dismiss them as coincidences, you'll miss the confirmation I placed right in front of you. Let me ask you, how many times have you brushed off the very thing you prayed for because it didn't arrive wrapped in the way you expected? You asked for clarity, but when it came as discomfort, you ignored it. You asked for direction, but when I closed a door, you mourned it instead of moving forward. You asked me to speak, and when I did through a stranger's words, a billboard, a memory, or even your own journaling, you hesitated. Why? Because you expected thunder, and I gave you truth in a whisper. But the more you learn to recognize these clues, the more unstoppable your spirit becomes. What once confused you now begins to confirm you. What once felt disconnected now becomes divine alignment. These clues are not small. They are sacred. They are your lifeline when logic fails and your compass when feelings falter. I've placed them in your path with precision, and I will keep doing so, not because I need to prove myself, but because I long for you to see how deeply involved I am in every detail of your destiny. So, child, from now on, don't shrug off the subtle. Don't overlook what keeps echoing. Ask me about it. Bring it to me. I'm not hiding. I'm highlighting. What seems random is often revelation in disguise. Learn the language of your spirit. Pay attention to the repetitive, the out of place, the oddly timed, because those are divine dots waiting for you to connect. And when you do, you'll find that what you called a coincidence was a confirmation coded in compassion. I am not distant. I am deliberate. And I am dropping clues because what I'm preparing next requires your awareness to be sharper than ever before. You don't need a new miracle. You need new eyes to see what I've already put in motion. Don't dismiss it, child. What you discover through discernment will lead you straight into destiny. There is a holy urgency in this moment, but it is not driven by panic. It is driven by mercy. Yes, urgency can sound like pressure in the world, but in the kingdom, urgency is love wearing boots. It is divine compassion running to intercept what would have harmed you. You feel the press, the inner ache, the sudden weight in your chest, and you've wondered, is this fear? Is this stress? No, child. That's me, moving with speed not because I'm angry, but because I'm intervening. Mercy doesn't wait when breakthrough is knocking. Mercy doesn't sit silent when danger is approaching or destiny is passing. And this urgency, this fire burning within your spirit right now, it is not human. It is holy. It's the sound of heaven moving faster than fear, louder than logic, deeper than delay. I'm not pressuring you to act from panic. I'm inviting you to move from alignment. To say yes, not because you're afraid of missing something, but because you're ready to carry something. You see, I have waited with patience. I have whispered in the quiet. I have knocked gently again and again on the door of your discernment. But now the window is narrowing, and I am not warning you to scare you. I am summoning you to position you. I'm calling you not to sprint in anxiety, but to step with purpose. You've asked me to protect you. This is me doing exactly that. The relationship that's shifting, the opportunity that's closing, the resistance you feel in certain spaces. That's not just discomfort. It's mercy moving things around. It's me shielding you before you could even see the battle coming. And though it may feel sudden, remember, I've seen further than you ever will. I've looked ahead and marked the danger zones. I've also seen the blessing zones, the holy intersections where obedience collides with outpouring. And I need you in position, not distracted, not scattered, not second-guessing. That's why I'm turning up the volume of conviction. That's why your spirit won't let you settle. You're not broken. You're being summoned. The urgency isn't punishment, it's preservation. It's me saying, child, I love you too much to let you miss what's already moving. So when you feel this urgency rise like a wave, don't resist it. Respond. Let it pull you into my presence. Let it adjust your priorities. Let it cleanse your calendar, your habits, your inner world. This is the hour where my mercy is speaking louder than your excuses. This is the hour where heaven leans forward and says, now. Not because you're running out of time, but because it's finally time. Time for the yes that breaks yokes. Time for the surrender that splits cycles. Time for the obedience that opens gates. I'm not rushing you to meet a deadline. I'm readying you to meet a divine line, one drawn in eternity that heaven has now traced into your reality. Child, the urgency is real, but it's not rooted in fear. It's rooted in faithful mercy, and it's knocking on your soul with fire in its eyes. Open now, not because you're afraid of what you will lose, but because I'm ready to show you what I've preserved for you all along. You've heard me in the whispers. You felt my breath move through every line I spoke into your soul today. And now, just as I've drawn near to you, I'm inviting you to help me draw near to others. The words you just received were manna, but someone else is still starving. Will you sow into the soil that fed you? When you support this ministry, through super thanks, membership, or the link in the description, you are sending out living water into places where drought has ruled for far too long. I promised in Isaiah 55:11 that my word shall not return void, and when you give, you become the vessel that carries my word into barren places. I will bless the hands that bless the harvest. Now act. To send what sustained you to someone else, and watch what I release back into your life. I don't need your rehearsed answers. I don't need your cautious agreements wrapped in maybe later. I don't need your partial surrender dressed in polite language. I need your full yes. Your wholehearted, fear-defying, comfort-abandoning, control-releasing, faith-filled yes. I'm waited for it. I've circled around your hesitations with patience. I've leaned in through your silence. But the time for halfway is over. The next thing I'm about to release over your life cannot rest on lukewarm altars. It demands commitment soaked in consecration. This is not the season for indecision. You've tried to stay in neutral, but your spirit is shifting into movement mode. Your destiny will not wait forever. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying it to awaken you. You are on the edge of something so significant, something sacred, that it can only be unlocked by a yes that costs something. I want the yes that shatters your backup plans. I want the yes that doesn't require you to understand all the details. I want the yes that says, even if I don't see the full staircase, I'll take the first step. Because the doors I'm opening next won't open for a convenient faith. They'll open for courageous obedience. You keep praying for me to move, but I'm waiting for your agreement. I've held miracles in place until your heart matured enough to receive without needing full clarity. I don't want your polished promises, child. I want your posture. The kind that says, I'm tired, but I'm still yours. I'm unsure, but I'll still walk. I'm nervous, but I won't delay. I want the kind of yes that doesn't come with conditions, but with commitment. And let me say this clearly, when your yes is full, my release will be immediate. The reason some things haven't shifted is not because I'm unwilling. It's because your yes is still half buried beneath hesitation. And I say this with tenderness. You're not being held back by the enemy. You're being held back by indecision. You've danced with doubt long enough. You've entertained too many opinions, carried too many what-ifs, and trusted your logic over my lordship. But child, what I'm asking for now is final. Full. Fierce. I want the kind of yes that breaks generational ceilings. The kind of yes that doesn't need applause to keep going. The kind of yes that walks into the unknown with nothing but my voice as a compass. And when you give it, when your spirit aligns with my summons, everything begins to shift. Mountains move. Doors swing. Favor flows. Not because you earned it, but because you agreed with it. This next chapter will be written by your response, not your performance. Your yes is the ink. So say it, child. With tears in your eyes if you must. With trembling hands if it's all you've got. But say it. Say yes. Fully. Freely. Finally. This next step, this sacred pivot, cannot be taken with eyes wide shut. It requires more than momentum. It requires discernment. You've arrived at a divine threshold. And no, this is not the place to act out of habit, out of haste, or out of fear. This moment demands clarity, not clarity from circumstance, but clarity from my presence. You see, there are doors that look right but lead to ruin. There are voices that sound kind but carry counterfeit wisdom. And I love you too much to let you walk forward simply guessing, hoping that instinct will substitute intimacy. I don't want you moving blindly. I want you moving boldly, but that boldness must be birthed in stillness. I need your attention, not just your action. Don't confuse busyness for obedience. Don't confuse motion for movement. I'm not interested in how fast you go. I'm interested in how aligned your next step is with my voice. You've looked for signs. You've gathered opinions. You've weighed your options like 1,000 pounds on a trembling scale. But let me say what your soul has known all along. The voice of strategy must never be louder than the voice of the Spirit. This step can't be a reaction. It must be a revelation. And revelation comes in the quiet places, in the hush between your questions, in the space where striving ends and surrender begins. You don't need another plan right now. You need permission to pause, to realign your vision with mine. Because I'm not just preparing you to move, I'm preparing you to move with accuracy. That is the difference between spiritual survival and spiritual significance. A wrong step here doesn't just delay you, it can detour your destiny. That's why the tension is so thick right now. That's why the clarity hasn't fully dropped. Because I'm drawing you deeper, not into confusion, but into communion. You're not stuck. You're being stilled on purpose. Because what I will reveal in the stillness will unlock the step and the strength to take it. To come away, even just for a moment. Step back from the noise. Mute the chatter of your own mind. Lay your logic down at the altar of my lordship. I know the way you should go, and I know the timing that will bless, not break you. But you must ask, not assume. And once I speak, don't delay. The window is real, the timing is sensitive, and the enemy would love nothing more than for you to overthink a word I meant for you to obey. This next step is not small. It's seismic. It will ripple into rooms you haven't even entered yet. That's why I'm being precise with you now. This step must be soaked in stillness before it is clothed in movement. It cannot be guessed, it must be guided. And I promise you this, child, when you move from the place of revelation, you will not walk alone. You will walk with power. You will walk with peace. And you will walk with the full backing of heaven. I need you to feel this, not just hear it. You were never called to run on autopilot. You were not made to simply exist, to survive from day to day, to keep repeating yesterday with no expectation of eternity breaking in. But I see what's happened. You've been in survival mode for so long that you've forgotten what sensitivity feels like. You become numb to the nudges. You've programmed your life around pain management instead of purpose momentum. And it grieves my heart, not in anger, but in aching love, because you've accepted functioning as a substitute for flourishing. You've allowed the motions to replace the movement. But child, listen. You weren't created to coast. You were crafted to conquer. You carry my image, my breath, my fire, and I refuse to let you live as if that fire was meant to flicker out. You have tuned yourself to routine to avoid risk. You've automated obedience, and it's cost you awe. That's why your spirit feels tired even when your body rests. That's why your prayers feel rehearsed, your joy feels delayed, and your vision feels dull. Because you've been running life on loop, and I never called you to live in loops. I called you to live in layers, ever deepening, ever growing, ever becoming. But autopilot numbs the soul. It deadens discernment. It lulls you into spiritual amnesia where you forget who you are and why you were sent here in the first place. So I'm shaking you now, not to hurt you, but to wake you. I'm pressing pause on the pattern so I can restore your passion. I want to breathe new breath into your bones. I want to stretch your spirit again. I want to remind you that there's more than repetition. There's revelation. That your day is not just a schedule, it's a sanctuary. That your life is not just functional, it's anointed. And so, here's what I'm asking. Turn off the autopilot. Come back to conscious communion. Come back to curiosity. Let your heart wander again, not from me but with me. Let wonder wake up in your worship. Let silence become sacred again. Ask me what I'm doing today. Don't assume it's the same as yesterday. I am a God of newness, not monotony. My mercy is fresh every morning, not recycled, not reheated. And I want to walk with you in the freshness of that mercy. Yes, responsibilities remain, but revelation will return if you let me rewire your rhythm. This isn't just about your schedule, it's about your soul. And I didn't design your soul to sleepwalk through destiny. I designed it to dance, to run, to burn bright with the awareness of me. So shake off the slumber, the dullness, the routine. Wake up, child. This is the hour of holy interruption. And I'm pulling you out of autopilot because there is still so much more for you to see, to carry, and to become. So much of the heaviness you feel is not the weight of destiny, but the pressure of battles I never asked you to fight. You have taken on conflicts not because I called you to them, but because you couldn't bear to let others fall apart. You've tried to rescue everyone, fix everything, prove your strength, protect your peace, all in the name of love and loyalty. But child, I never asked you to be everyone's savior. I never placed that sword in your hand. You took it out of survival, out of habit, out of a heart so full of compassion that it forgot to leave space for your own healing. But I see how tired you are. I see the private wars behind your eyes. I see how often you've had to wipe your own tears, hide your hurt, and wear the armor of strength while quietly crumbling underneath. And I am here to tell you, not in shame, but in love, you've been fighting battles that aren't yours to win. This is not weakness. It's wisdom. I'm not rebuking you, I'm rescuing you. You see, the weight you're carrying was never assigned to you. It was accumulated. You picked it up out of guilt, out of fear, out of pressure to hold everyone and everything together. But child, I am the only one who holds the whole world in my hands, and that includes you. You are not failing because you can't carry it all. You are faithful for having carried so much for so long. But now, you must put it down. The battle for their choices, the war for their deliverance, the fight to fix things that refuse to change, that is not your fight. That is mine. You've tried to wear my armor while still bleeding from your own wounds. But now, I am removing the weight, not as punishment, but as permission. Permission to rest. Permission to say no without guilt. Permission to breathe again. I'm not asking you to be passive. I'm asking you to be positioned. When you give me the battle, I can give you the breakthrough. So lay it down, child. Lay down the sword of self-preservation. Lay down the burden of being strong for everyone else. Lay down the fight to fix what I'm still in the process of transforming. Some mountains move not by your might, but by your surrender. Some storms still not because you stood longer, but because you finally stepped aside. The most powerful thing you can do in this moment is let go and let me. I know it's hard. I know you've been trained to hold on. But I've come now with holy hands, not to snatch the sword from you, but to open your grip gently, lovingly, and replace it with peace. You were never meant to be exhausted by a war I've already won. Rest, child. Watch me fight for you now. And now that your hands are beginning to empty, let me fill them with a truth that will anchor your next step. I've already gone ahead of you. Before the conversation, before the decision, before the moment you dread or the door you're unsure about, I've already walked there. I've stepped into tomorrow with full authority and perfect knowledge. I've prepared the path not just in direction, but in provision. You will not arrive at a moment that I haven't already occupied. I'm not watching your journey from a distance. I'm not reacting as you move. I'm orchestrating as you obey. Every unknown that paralyzes your thoughts, I've already named it, tamed it, and folded it into the plan that glorifies me and blesses you. The favor you fear won't show up. It's already waiting. The door you wonder if you'll have the strength to walk through. I've already opened it and assigned angels to hold it. The conversations you're worried might break you. I've already given you the grace to speak with wisdom and peace. I go before you. Always. You don't have to map out every turn. You don't need to predict every outcome. You've exhausted yourself trying to analyze what I've already authored. But child, listen. Rest is the fruit of trust. You can rest, not because you're certain of the road, but because you're confident in the one who prepared it. Every fear you're rehearsing in your mind right now, bring it to me. I'm not just walking beside you. I'm preparing the very terrain beneath your feet. Where you think there might be resistance, I've assigned revelation. Where you think doors might close, I've positioned divine timing. Where you think you'll be alone, I've already appointed intercessors, encouragers, and unseen support. You may not see it all yet, but I have not left a single detail untouched. Nothing will catch me by surprise. Nothing will be too much for me to handle. And because you belong to me, nothing will be able to stop what I have started in your life. So take the step, even if your knees are trembling, even if your heart is pounding. Take the step, not because it's easy, but because I'm already there. I'm in the room before you enter. I'm in the yes before you speak it. I'm in the assignment before you fully understand it. I'm in the unknown, and I've turned it into a place of meeting, not just mystery. Trust me, beloved. You will never walk into a moment alone. You will never stand in a space I haven't filled with my presence. You may feel unprepared, but I am never under-sourced. You may feel uncertain, but I have never once been confused. And if I'm ahead of you, what is there to fear? What can truly stand against a future I've already secured? Walk now, not in fear, but in faith. I'm not just with you. I'm waiting for you. And what I've prepared is greater than what you're leaving behind. I need you to stop believing the lie that your history disqualifies you from my promises. I saw it all. I saw the nights you wished never happened. I saw the decisions you made in confusion, fear, rebellion, and pain. I saw the cycles you thought you broke, only to return to in weakness. And yet here you are, still breathing, still reaching, still longing for me. That's not failure. That's faith in motion. I never expected your journey to be flawless. I expected it to be honest. I knew where you'd stumble. I knew what would win you. And I factored all of it into my plan. What disqualifies you in the eyes of man has become evidence of my mercy. What others see as a mark of shame, I have written as a testimony of survival. You didn't just make it through the fire, you were forged in it. A trauma didn't destroy you. A detour didn't derail you. That season of silence wasn't abandonment, it was a cocoon. You thought it was the end, but I was just beginning. Hear me. I do not discard those who have scars. I anoint them. I crown them. I call them by name and send them back into dark places with oil dripping from every place they were once broken. You are not too tainted. You are not too late. You are not too damaged. You are the one I've been preparing, precisely because you survived what should have taken you out. Do you understand how powerful that is? That every demon that tried to bear you failed. That every moment of despair that should have drowned you was met by my hand holding you just above the surface. I don't need perfection. I need surrender. I don't choose the clean. I cleanse the chosen. I don't require purity before calling. I purify in the calling. You're not here because you earned a second chance. You're here because grace refused to give up on you. And grace is still holding the pen. Your story isn't over. It's shifting. right now. Because I'm telling you what you've never dared to believe. You are still the one I'm sending. So rise, not in pride, but in promise. You may walk with a limp, but that limp is proof you wrestled for this. That limp is sacred. It reminds hell that you didn't die in your wilderness. It reminds the heavens that your yes still echoes. You may feel unworthy, but I say you are witness worthy. The oil on your life didn't come cheap. It was pressed in nights of anguish and days of disappointment. But now that oil is fragrant to me, and I will use it, not in spite of your past, but because of it. I will send you back to those who watched you fall, and they will witness the glory of your rise. Not so you can boast, but so they'll know who held you together when you were breaking apart. You are not disqualified. You are divinely appointed. And no shadow of your past has the power to cancel what I've spoken over your future. Here is something you've been carrying too long, this idea that you must perfect yourself before I can fully use you. That until your emotions are steady, your mind is clear, your faith is strong, and your mistakes are non-existent, you are somehow on the outside looking in. But that is not my voice. That is not my heart. That is not my gospel. I never asked for your perfection. I've always longed for your proximity. I want you, the real you, not the curated version you present to others. Not the cleaned-up version you post for approval. I want the messy, uncertain, trembling, raw, open you. The version that cries in secret and wonders if you're enough. I want the heart that sometimes doubts but keeps turning back toward me. The mind that feels overwhelmed but still reaches for my word. The spirit that feels dry but still presses into worship. That's who I came for. That's who I stay for. That's who I pour myself into. Not because you earned it, but because you belong with me. There has never been a single moment where I looked at you in disgust. Not one second where your weakness made me pull away. If anything, it pulled me closer. I am not afraid of your mess. I'm not offended by your struggle. I don't flinch when you fall. I am the Father who runs to meet you, robe in hand, ring prepared, arms wide open, every single time. I'm not watching you from a distance with disappointment. I'm whispering beside you with delight. You've misread my silence. I wasn't withholding. I was waiting for you to come close, not polished, but present. That's all I want. Your presence. Your nearness. Your heart leaned in, even if it's fragile. That's where transformation lives. Not in performing for my approval, but in abiding in my affection. This isn't a transaction. It's a relationship. And I've already paid for your access with my blood. Why would I now make you earn what I died to give freely? So, child, drop the burden of being flawless. Drop the guilt of every stumble. Drop the inner scorecard keeping track of how well you're doing. It's not about doing. It's about dwelling. Come to me, not once you feel ready, but especially when you don't. Let your proximity be your worship. Let your vulnerability be your offering. When you draw near, you'll find that the fire you thought went out is still burning. The passion you feared was gone is only buried beneath performance. Let me breathe on it again. Let me remind you that closeness with me was never reserved for the perfect. It was purchased for the broken. And I want you here. Close. Still. Open. Not because I need your perfection, but because I already gave you access through mine. I see that tension in your chest. That aching feeling like life passed you by while you stood still. That grief you carry in silence, wondering how you ended up here. So far from what you expected, so distant from the timeline you believed was sacred. But listen to me now. You are not behind. I need to say it again. louder than the shame that whispers otherwise. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not disqualified. You are not lost. You are being recalibrated. You didn't miss your window. You didn't ruin your chance. The timeline you mourn was never my timeline. It was borrowed from a world that does not understand divine pace. I do not measure purpose by milestones. I measure it by obedience. And even when you thought you were stuck, your spirit kept moving. You were being shifted, recentered, realigned. Not as punishment, but as preparation. I rerouted you not because I was angry, but because I was merciful. You have no idea what I protected you from. You don't even know how many doors I shut not to deny you, but to deliver you. The opportunity you begged for. It was built on unstable ground. That person you thought would walk with you forever. They would have poisoned the path ahead. That season that felt like a step backward. It was me resetting your compass. You haven't lost time. You've gained timing. And child, my timing is never off. You were never meant to keep up with the pace of comparison. You were meant to walk at the rhythm of my spirit. You thought I was withholding progress, but I was anchoring your identity. Because if I had given you the platform before the pruning, you would have performed instead of belonged. You don't need to rush to catch up. You need to root to rise. And that's what I've been doing, growing you underneath. So when I lift you, no wind will be able to shake what I've built within you. So release the clock. Let go of the story you rehearsed in your mind. I'm writing a better one. One that doesn't just bless you on the surface but builds something eternal within you. I'm not restoring you to where you used to be. I'm launching you into where you were always meant to go. And yes, it will look different than what you planned. But child, what I'm doing will be better than what you dreamed. You are not behind. You are becoming. You are not late. You are right on time for a future authored in eternity. So lift your eyes. Shake off the shame. And remember this. Delay is not denial when it's in my hands. It's design. And I never design anything without glory in mind. My beloved, before anything else, I want you to know, this is not about what you do or where you're going. This is about your heart. That's the place I've been contending for. That's the place the war has been raging in silence. Not your finances. Not your future. Your heart. The true battleground is not the external. It's the invisible war within. The fatigue. The numbness. The silent frustration that won't leave even when everything looks okay on the outside. The ache you've tried to spiritualize. The coldness you've covered up with functionality. That's where the fight hath been fiercest. And that's where I'm focusing all of heaven right now, on your heart. I don't want your performance. I want your presence. I want your affection. I want your trust again. I want the soft parts of you, the cracked parts, the skeptical parts. Because only when your heart is whole can the rest truly follow. There's a reason you've been under this kind of pressure. The enemy doesn't waste time attacking areas that aren't sacred. And your heart is sacred real estate. It's where I live. It's where I speak. It's where my spirit breathes. But lately, you've let your heart harden, not out of rebellion, but out of defense. You've grown tired of being disappointed. You shut doors so the pain wouldn't keep sneaking in. But child, in trying to protect yourself, you've locked me out too. And I am not angry about that. I understand it. I see the story behind the wall. I see the broken pieces behind the bravado. But now I'm gently knocking not on your door but on your chest. Let me back in. Not just into your behavior, into your being. I want to heal the root, not just modify the fruit. I want to sit in the places where no one else gets to go. I want your real, not your religious. So this is your permission, your invitation, your moment. Let me in again. Let your heart be a battlefield I win, not a hiding place you guard. I don't need you to fix it. I just need you to feel it with me. I want to cry with you again. I want to rejoice with you again. I want to be in every memory, every regret, every hope, every crack. I want to fill the chambers of your heart with such holy presence that no lie can echo there anymore. And when I do, child, everything will change. Not because the world shifts instantly, but because your capacity to hold me will expand. And when I have your heart, I can trust you with the weight of your next assignment. So today, give me not just your voice, give me your heart. The whole thing. Because that, beloved, is the battlefield I've already declared victory over. The season you're walking through right now. It may look quiet, confusing, delayed, even unremarkable, but it is sacred. This is not a stagnant place. This is not the in-between you've come to resent. This is not a waiting room where dreams go to die. This season is holy. It's hidden, but it's not hollow. It's slow, but it's not still. The world may not see the movement, but I do. You think you're not advancing, but you're evolving. You think you're stuck, but I'm staging something greater. What you've called dry is actually deep. What you've called pause is actually preparation. I haven't stopped speaking. I've just shifted how I'm speaking. Because this season isn't about public validation. It's about private visitation. It's about me walking with you in the garden of solitude, undoing old lies, breathing into your identity, and recalibrating you for what's ahead. You've asked, why does it feel so slow? But child, do you not know that I crafted the seed before it ever broke through the soil? And seeds don't bloom by force. They bloom by timing. What you're calling delay is actually design. I am building root systems in silence. I'm teaching you to see in the dark. I'm tuning your ears to frequency, not fame. And yes, it feels unglamorous. Yes, it's hard to articulate to others. But that's because what I'm doing is not surface level. It's soul deep. The season is not a sideline. It's sacred ground. This is where kings are crowned in obscurity. This is where mantles are passed in caves, not on stages. This is where prophets are formed, not in applause, but in agonizing intimacy. I'm not punishing you. I'm preserving you. I'm not hiding you because you're unworthy. I'm hiding you because you're too precious to expose too soon. So stop cursing the slowness. Stop despising the process. Lift your head, child. Look around. You're standing on holy ground. You're not invisible. You're being invested in. I'm sowing into you with every quiet morning, every unanswered question, every hidden victory. I know it's hard. I know you long to see more fruit. But trust me, I see the fruit already growing beneath the surface. And when the time comes for me to reveal what's been growing, it will not be small. It will not be rushed. It will not be fragile. It will be a harvest that silences every lie that tried to convince you I'd forgotten you. So hold this season tenderly. Don't rush it. Don't resent it. Revere it. Because when I call this season sacred, that means it's been stamped by my own hand. And anything touched by my hand can never be wasted. You've just realized this. Your season isn't stagnant. It's sacred. And what you sow in sacred ground always multiplies. Right now, I'm giving you a moment to partner with me, not just in receiving, but in releasing. When you give into this word, through super thanks, membership, or the donation link below, you are not funding a screen. You are fueling a movement of fire that carries my voice to places where my children are still wandering, still waiting, still whispering, "God, speak to me too." I said in Proverbs 11:25, "Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed." Child, I will pour back into you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Don't hesitate. Release the seed, and I'll release the flood. I've heard your prayers. I've caught every cry. I've felt the intensity with which you've begged me for change. God, shift the circumstance. Open the door. Remove the resistance. Heal what hurts. Fix what's broken. And hear me. I am not ignoring those prayers. They move me. They reach me. But I need you to understand something. Before I change the thing, I must change you. Not because I am withholding, but because I am aligning. Because if I gave you the shift before I completed the shaping, the very blessing you're crying out for would break you. I'm not punishing you with process. I'm protecting you with preparation. You've been asking me to move the mountain, but I'm building the muscles inside you to climb it. You've been asking for doors, but I'm building a spirit strong enough to walk through them without compromise. You keep asking, when, God? When will it change? But what if I told you, the moment you shift, everything else begins to fall into place? That storm you're asking me to still, it's not just testing your environment. It's training your inner world. Because the peace you long for doesn't come when things are perfect. It comes when you've become anchored in me regardless of what swirls around you. I want you rooted, not reactive. I want you whole, not hurried. And I'm changing you, beloved. Why the daily deeply? I'm shifting your mindset, healing your inner dialogue, rebuilding your foundation, reframing your understanding of what's possible. And when the change within you reaches fullness, the external will follow like a tide released. Don't be discouraged if you don't see it yet. You are changing. You are growing. You are being made new. The mirror may not reflect it, but your spirit feels it. So pause your striving. Stop wrestling me for shortcuts. I love your hunger, but I also need your trust. The change you want is not too big for me, but the change I'm doing inside you, that's eternal. And that's the part you carry with you long after the door opens, long after the storm clears. So let me finish the work. Let me finish shaping your heart, not just your outcome. Let me stretch your capacity, not just your circumstances. Because when you emerge from this, when the change within you matches the change around you, it won't just be breakthrough. It will be becoming. And that's what I'm really after. Not just answers to prayer, but a new you that walks like me, thinks like me, dreams like me, and carries glory with every step. You haven't been denied. You've been developed. And I promise you, when I'm done, you'll thank me not just for what I changed, but for who you became in the process. I know it doesn't always feel like it, but every act of obedience you've offered, every quiet yes, every silent surrender, every unseen step, is building something far greater than you realize. You've looked around and asked, what's the point? Why am I still showing up, still believing, still pressing forward when nothing seems to be changing? But child, I want you to see with my eyes now. You're not just obeying in the natural. You're laying foundation in the eternal. Every time you obey me without applause, without validation, without a visible reward, you're building altars. Sacred places where heaven touches earth. Places where destiny finds anchoring and generations are changed. You think you're just surviving the mundane, but you are constructing miracles brick by brick. You see, in my kingdom, the greatest shifts happen underground, before they break through the surface. Just like seeds that stretch downward before they rise upward, your obedience is growing roots so deep that what will bloom later will be unshakable. That prayer you whispered and thought no one heard, I bottled it. That act of generosity you gave when no one saw, I multiplied it. That time you forgave even when your flesh screamed not to. You shattered chains you didn't even know were holding others hostage. Your obedience isn't just about you. It's echoing into rooms and realms beyond your comprehension. And I know it's hard. I know you want results. But I'm building you for something bigger than results. I'm building you for reign, for legacy, for authority. And only obedience can form the kind of vessel that can carry what I'm about to pour. So do not minimize the steps you've taken. Do not resent the slow obedience that cost you something. Do not quit because you can't yet see what's shifting. Your obedience is opening doors in the spirit long before they swing open in the natural. It is disarming the enemy. It is rewriting bloodlines. It is creating holy infrastructure for glory to rest on. And when the time is right, you will not just see the fruit. You will become the fulfillment of every promise. Because while others were performing, you were planting. While others were chasing platforms, you were cultivating purity. And child, I do not forget the obedience done in secret. I reward it openly, at the right time, in the right way, with weight that cannot be stolen. Keep building. Keep trusting. The blueprint in your hands may look small, but the structure in my mind is cathedral-sized. And you, faithful one, are laying stone after stone. Obedience by obedient. Yes by yes. Until what was once invisible becomes undeniable. I see the weariness in your soul. The kind that sleep can't touch. The kind that prayer tries to push through but still lingers like fog. You said it beneath your breath. Or maybe just silently in your mind. I don't know how much more I can take. And yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still reaching even if barely. And I need to tell you something right now, in this very moment when you feel furthest from the promise. You are closer than you feel. You are closer to the breakthrough than your senses are telling you. Heaven is not ignoring you. Heaven is surrounding you. You've been walking through a tunnel, and though it's felt endless, I want you to know, the light is about to break. This pressure you've been feeling, it's not punishment. It's proximity. The closer a baby is to being born, the stronger the contractions, the greater the promise, the tighter the resistance. And you, beloved, are on the edge of a moment that will redefine your entire trajectory. That's why it's been so hard. That's why you've been tested from every direction. The warfare hasn't increased because you're weak. It's increased because you're winning. Because what's coming through you will disrupt darkness. What's about to emerge will not only bless you, it will awaken others. You think you're about to break down, but child, you're about to break open. And what's inside you is not just survival. It's revival. Not just endurance. It's evidence that my hand is upon you. So don't walk away. Don't give up at the threshold. I know you can't feel the shift yet, but I need you to trust my timeline more than your feelings. Feelings lie. Emotions swing. But my word is unshakable. And I've declared this over you. You will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. That wasn't poetic fluff. That was prophetic truth. I meant it. And I intend to fulfill it. You're not going to be stuck in survival. You're not going to live on the brink forever. You will not die in the wilderness. The breakthrough is not coming from a place you expect, but it is coming. Not because you fought perfectly, but because you didn't stop showing up. And that matters more to me than you know. So hear me. You are not far. You are near. A shift is real. A release is imminent. And you, weary one, you're about to see it with your own eyes. I know how desperately you've wanted relief. A break in the tension. A moment of peace. A season where the questions stop piling and the pressure eases. And I want you to know, I feel the ache of your waiting. I know what it's cost you to keep walking, to keep lifting your head, to keep trusting me when it seemed like the heavens were silent. I've seen your whispered prayers asking, God, can this storm pass already? And yes, I could remove it with a word. But child, I haven't just been trying to bring you out of pressure. I've been raising you up through pressure. Because I'm not just training you for relief. I'm training you for rain. I'm shaping you into someone who doesn't just survive, but someone who governs. You were born to carry weight. You were born to shift atmospheres. You were born to walk in dominion, not just deliverance. And that means I must equip you with more than comfort. I must cultivate capacity. Not to crush you, but to crown you. I'm not throwing you into fire for fun. I'm forging you into something that can sustain glory. Because what's coming to you won't be light. It will be weighty with significance, authority, and legacy. And if I gave it to you without preparation, it would not bless you, it would bury you. So yes, I've allowed the weight to remain, not because I want you to break, but because I want you to learn how to carry it with grace. You are learning the art of reigning when things don't change, ruling when emotions roar, standing still when everything screams for you to run. That is not weakness. That is warrior training. That is royalty being refined. Relief is beautiful, but it's temporary. Rain is what endures. Rain doesn't mean perfection. It means possession. You're learning to possess peace in the chaos, to possess clarity in the confusion, to possess authority when the room tries to shrink you. And every lesson, every tear, every silent night has been schooling your spirit. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. What others ran from, you're learning to rule over. What used to shake you now only strengthens you. That's not an accident. That's anointing. You've asked me to remove the burden, but instead I've expanded your shoulders. Not so you can suffer in silence, but so you can reign with substance. This is deeper than survival, child. This is destiny training. And you are closer to the coronation than you know. I see what you buried. The dream you stopped praying about. The relationship you wrote off as hopeless. The joy you tucked away because it hurt too much to hold. I saw the moment you gave up, not in rebellion, but in exhaustion. When your hands let go, not out of defiance, but because they had nothing left to hold with. You mourned it silently, and life went on. But here I am now, speaking right into that grave. Listen to me. What you thought was gone forever, I am restoring. You thought it was over, but I specialize in resurrection. I don't need the conditions to be perfect. I don't need your belief to be at full strength. I just need your heart open again. And child, I am already breathing on the bones. It may not look like it yet. Restoration rarely begins with fireworks. It begins with my breath. Quiet, unseen, relentless. That dream you mourned, it's not dead. It's sleeping. That love you thought you'd never feel again, I'm resurrecting it. That purpose that seemed lost to time, I've been guarding it while you were healing. And now I'm bringing it back, not in the same form but in a redeemed form. One shaped by wisdom, one covered in oil, one that carries power you couldn't have held before the breaking. I don't restore to take you backward. I restore to elevate you forward. You will see beauty again. You will laugh again, not the polite, masked kind, but the deep, holy kind that shakes grief off your bones. I am restoring not just what you lost, but how you see yourself because of it. This restoration won't come through striving. It will come through surrender. I'm asking you now, will you let me touch the thing you've locked away? Will you let me into the room of your heart that still aches, that still trembles, that still wonders if healing is possible? Because if you give me access, I will not just restore what was. I will rebuild you around it. You won't just receive the dream, you'll be transformed in the process. This won't be a repeat of your past. It will be redemption, reborn. The world said it was over. Even you agreed. But child, when I breathe on something, no grave can hold it. To open the door again. I'm not just reviving what you lost, I'm revealing the glory that can only come through resurrection. And yes, it's for you. Now. Not someday. Now. That storm you're still recovering from. The one that hit you without warning, that stripped so much from your hands, that tested your last nerve and threatened your sanity. It wasn't designed to destroy you. I know it felt violent. I know it rearranged everything you once called familiar. But lean in, because what I'm about to say is drenched in heaven's fire. That storm was allowed to reveal you. You weren't being punished. You were being pulled forward. The shaking wasn't proof of my absence. It was proof of my involvement. Because what I've placed inside you was never meant to lie dormant. It was meant to emerge, and sometimes, emergence comes through chaos. I didn't send the storm to dismantle your identity. I allowed it to dislodge what could no longer go with you. I allowed it to expose the false comforts, the shallow dependencies, the counterfeit security systems you built around your trauma. Not to shame you, but to liberate you. You cried out, "Why is this happening to me?" But heaven was thundering, "It's happening for you." The winds weren't against you. They were breaking off the things that were weighing you down. The thunder wasn't threat, it was a summons. And in the middle of that storm, you thought you were losing everything. But what was actually happening was this. You were finding yourself. You were meeting the version of you I always saw. The one not held hostage by fear. The one who doesn't shrink. The one who stands when everything else crumbles. The one born to walk on waves, not drown beneath them. Look at you now. You're not the same. You're wiser. Yarpu. More aware of my voice than ever before. You don't flint the way you used to. You don't chase validation the way you once did. Why? Because the storm re-anchored you. And even though you feel weathered, you are more holy than you've ever been. Not because you performed through the chaos, but because you clung to me when you had nothing else left to grip. The storm didn't break you, it birthed you. So stop mourning it like a loss. Begin to reframe it as a moment of unveiling. Because now that you've seen what survives the shaking, now that you've met the version of yourself who stood through the flood, you are ready for the next level of glory I have always intended for you. Your silence has said more than your words ever could. I've heard the restraint in your spirit. I've watched you hold back, not because you lack revelation, but because you've questioned whether your voice really matters. You've assumed your impact must be small because your platform is hidden. But hear me now, your voice carries power that you haven't even begun to understand. It's not about volume. It's about authority. And you, beloved, were born with a sound that doesn't just echo, it shakes realms. You remember the times you spoke peace over someone, and their anxiety stilled. That wasn't personality. That was prophetic atmosphere coming through your tone. Do you remember how you once sang quietly in your car and suddenly felt heaven flood the space? That wasn't emotion. That was presence riding on your voice. Do you recall those times when your encouragement pierced deeper than logic could explain? That was me, child. My breath carried through your sound. You've treated your voice like an accessory, but I built it as a weapon, a healing balm, a divine trumpet. And it's time you stop whispering like you're powerless. It's time you realize the fire I've laced into every syllable that leaves your mouth. When you speak, hell backs up. When you decree truth, atmospheres shift. When you pray, demons shudder. You've been loud in the spirit, even when you felt invisible in the natural. So this is the season where I'm activating your sound. Not just for worship, not just for prayer, but for divine declaration. You're not just called to speak hope, you're called to release it. You're not just called to encourage, you're called to break strongholds with a sentence. And your voice doesn't need polish, it needs permission. You don't have to sound like anyone else to be effective. Your sound is anointed because it's yours. It's been refined in fire. It's been tested in silence. And now I'm calling it forward. Not for applause, but for assignment. There are people waiting on what's inside your mouth. And when you speak, the frequency of heaven will flood the atmosphere like thunder wrapped in love. So speak, child. Not with arrogance, but with assurance. You are my mouthpiece. And the more you use your voice, the more you will realize that it's not you speaking alone. It's me, roaring through you. And when I roar through my sons and daughters, nothing stays the same. My beloved child, listen. Breakthrough is not always heralded with fanfare or fireworks. Often, it brews in the silence, in the stillness where your soul and mind meet in the secret places. That is where I plant the seeds of your next move. You're longing for the explosive sign, the visible shift, the door to swing wide, the call to come. But I'm inviting you instead to linger, to let your heart rest, to let my voice seep deeper than the echo of your thoughts. Because the silence isn't empty, it's pregnant. It's rhythm, not recess. It's not delay, it's incubation. You've asked me to move. But first, I'm asking you to dwell, to sit in sacred stillness and let what's dormant begin to stir. This isn't wasted time. This is formative time. This is where your next level is being born under pressure. You feel quiet because I'm not releasing the leap. I'm building the strength to take it. And you're closer than you think. One more breath in the hush, one more moment in candor with me, and you will feel the shift start inside your bones. The healing won't just be external. It will echo inside your identity. So don't flee this silence. Lean into it. Let your spirit wake up to me again, not just in the main event, but in the quiet curtains of your heart. Breakthrough is budding there, and when it blooms, it won't just change your circumstances, it will resonate through generations. The hush of this hour isn't a hiatus. It's the making of your miracle. You've carried burdens, joys, dreams, and doubts. And beneath every layer of your soul, there's a moment waiting. The moment when you say, I surrender. That is not a weak phrase. That is the thunderclap that splits the heavens wide open on your behalf. Your surrender is the sound that shatters stagnation. It is the prayer more powerful than any plea. It is the key to doors that logic would never dare unlock. And now, I am waiting for that sweet sound, your surrender. Not because I demand it, but because that is where I move. You may have thought surrender meant you failed, but no. This surrender is your service. It's your admission that you cannot carry this Bible alone. And that's good news. because you will never carry what I want to give you by your will. You must receive. And to receive, all you have to do is stop striving and start leaning. When you surrender, not out of defeat, but out of ripe trust, it's like gravity in motion. Doors begin to part, alignments shift, and what was locked opens. Your surrender is not the end. It is the prelude to everything sacred I'm ready to drop into your life. So what are you holding on to that isn't yours to bear anymore? What plans are you still cradling because of fear, even though I've told you to let go? Today, in this moment, let it go. In your weakest yes, my strength will come. In your quiet yielding, my voice will roar. And you, my beloved, will walk into doors that were already carved for you, doors that were carved by the echo of your surrender. My beloved, if you only knew the weight of what's about to pour into your life, you'd stop calling this season barren. You'd stop thinking the best has already passed. You'd stop mourning the versions of you that I've already outgrown. Because what I'm releasing into your hands next, it's not recycled favor. It's not leftover blessing. It is fresh. It is full. And it has been saved for this very moment. Hear me. I've saved the best for right now. Not the best by human standards. The best by heaven's intention. The best that has been matured, refined, and tailor-made for your readiness. You've looked at others and wondered why they got there first. But child, this has never been about arrival. It's about alignment. I was never late. I was waiting until the inside of you could sustain the outside of what I'm about to release. That's why it took longer. That's why you felt delay. But what looked like me withholding was actually me preserving. I've kept you hidden. I've kept the door sealed. Not because I wanted you to sit in lack, but because I wanted you to stand in overflow when the time came. And now it's time. Time for the things I whispered years ago to come into view. Time for the dreams you buried in the name of maturity to be resurrected with power, not pressure. Time for you to realize that your later has just turned into now. This final moment in this cascade of words is not the end. It is the threshold. What I'm bringing you into will require faith, yes, but it will also awaken the kind of joy that doesn't just sing, it shakes chains off others. This is what you were born for. Not to survive, but to shine. Not to blend, but to blaze. Not to perform, but to possess. The glory you're about to step into. It's not random. It's rightful. I didn't just restore you. I have reserved something for you. Something your name is written on. Something no demon in hell can cancel. Something no delay can devour. And I'm saying it one final time, I've saved the best for right now. So take a deep breath. The old season is over. The wilderness is behind you. The silence is lifting. And what stands ahead of you isn't just a new chapter. It's a divine unveiling. You waited long enough. You've wept long enough. And now, child, it's time to walk into what was always yours. You've just stood on the edge of the final word, and now I'm calling you to act on it. I told you I've saved the best for right now. And this is one of those moments. When you give, through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link below, you are not just giving to a message, you are releasing anointing that travels. Your gift becomes oil, your support becomes light, your yes becomes a bridge for others to hear my voice exactly when they need it most. Freely you've received. Now freely give. I declared in Matthew 10:8. When you give into glory, I give into you with favor, increase, and unstoppable covering. Don't wait. Move now. Multiply what moved you. Before you go, I need you to do something holy right now. I didn't pour these words into your spirit just to let them sit. I'm awakening your response. If you felt me speaking to you today, drop this declaration below as a prophetic act of alignment. God, I hear you. It has to be right now. Let your comment be more than words. Let it be the spark that marks this moment as your turning point. This isn't just a video, it's a visitation. And your response is the signal to heaven that you're ready for what I've been holding in reserve. Go now, declare it. Let all of hell hear you say, it's time. And as you declare it, quiet yourself for what comes next. My child, just for this moment, I need you to be still. I need to talk to you, and it has to be right now. I need your full attention, not the leftover pieces you give me between tasks and worries. I know your mind is racing. I can hear the noise from here. It is the frantic echo of your to-do list, the constant buzz of your phone demanding your focus, and the relentless replay of conversations that left you feeling small and misunderstood. You are drowning in the sound of a world that never sleeps, a world that shouts for your energy, your time, and your peace. That noise, my beloved, has become a wall between us. It is a thick static that makes my whisper sound distant, a roaring river that carries you further and further away from my shore. You try to hear me. I know you do. You listen for me in the middle of your chaos, but it is like trying to hear a secret in the middle of a shouting crowd. It cannot be done. So, right now, in this very instant, I am silencing the distractions. Feel it. I am gently pushing the mute button on the world around you. I am calming the frantic energy in your own heart. That knot in your stomach you carry from your job. The unspoken tension you feel when you walk into your home. The deep, cold fear of the future and what it might hold. I am commanding it all to be quiet. Just for now. Pause and take a breath. A real breath. Inhale my peace and exhale the chaos. Do you feel that stillness settling over you? That is me. That is my presence clearing a space just for us. This is not an accident, my child. This moment was not a random thought that popped into your head. This is a sacred appointment. It is an invitation I wrote on your heart before I laid the foundations of the world. I knew that on this very day, at this very hour, you would need me. I knew you would be at this crossroads, feeling overlooked, feeling the pressure mount, feeling like you are holding everything together with frayed string. And I am here. Listen to me carefully, because what I am about to share with you will alter the course of your journey. This is not a small adjustment I am asking for. It is not a minor course correction. This conversation is the compass that will reorient your entire life. The path you have been walking has become clouded, and your steps have grown heavy. But I am here to light the way forward, to lift the burdens, and to remind you of the truth you have started to forget. So come away with me, my precious one. Leave the noise and the striving behind for a little while longer. Step out of the whirlwind of your anxieties and into the deep, profound quiet of my presence. Here, in this sacred stillness, you are safe. Here, you are seen. Here, you are loved completely. Come, my child. Let's talk. My child, in the middle of this stillness, I need you to remember who is speaking. The noise of your life has not only deafened you to my voice, but it has also made you forget who I am to you. You see the chaos swirling around you, the demands, the deadlines, the fears, and you feel so small. You forget that I am the Alpha, the one who spoke your name into existence before your story ever began. And I am the Omega, the one who holds your final, glorious chapter already written in my hands. Your current problem is not the end of your story. You feel overwhelmed by the sheer size of the challenges you face, that bill that seems impossible to pay, the diagnosis that hangs heavy in the air, the relationship that feels broken beyond repair. You see a mountain, but you have forgotten that I am the God who speaks to mountains and they become dust. I am the one who formed you in the secret place of your mother's womb. I knew you then, and I know you now. Do you truly believe I would create you with such detail and love, only to abandon you to the very fears that keep you awake in the long, dark hours of the night? That is not my nature. Your feelings, my precious one, they change like the wind. One moment you feel strong, the next you feel fragile and lost. But I do not change. I am your fortress when you feel attacked. I am your deliverer when you feel trapped. I am your ever-present help when trouble finds you, and I know it has found you. Recall the moments in your past. You have been here before, standing at the edge of an impossible sea with an army of worries at your back. Do you remember how I made a way when there was no way? Do you remember the provision that showed up at the last possible moment? Do you remember the sudden peace that fell upon you when you had every reason to fall apart? That was me. That has always been me. My power has not diminished. My love has not grown tired. My arm is not too short to save. The world around you is shifting sand. Opinions change. People leave. Security fails. But I am the rock that the storm cannot move, the anchor that holds in the deepest sea. I am not a distant concept or a character in a book. I am the living God, your Father, and your defender. Let this truth sink deeper than your fears. Breathe it in. I am here, and I am still the same God who has seen you through every other storm. Now I want you to look at what you are holding. I see the burdens you have picked up, the ones I never asked you to carry. Your shoulders are slumped under a weight that was never designed for you to bear. Let's be honest, you and I see you carrying the heavy bag of tomorrow's anxieties. You are trying to manage outcomes you cannot control, rehearsing conversations that may never happen, and troubleshooting problems that do not yet exist. Why are you trying to live in a day that is not yours to manage? Tomorrow belongs to me. I am already there. Your only task is to walk through today, right here, holding my hand. And look, you are also carrying the worries of others. Your heart, so full of love for them, has become entangled in their fears. You carry the weight of your child's choices, the burden of your friend's sorrow, the stress of your partner's struggles. You believe you are helping them by carrying it for them, but you are only crushing your own spirit. You were not created to be their savior. You already have one, and so do they. I am the only one strong enough to carry the weight of the world, including the worlds of those you love. That constant, grinding stress you feel, the tension in your neck, that pit in your stomach, that is the feeling of a spirit trying to do a job it was never created to do. I am here, right now, to lift that crushing load. I want you to do something for me. In your mind, I want you to physically visualize taking these burdens, one by one, and laying them at my feet. Let's do it together. First, take that deep, aching anxiety about your finances. See it in your hands, and now, let it go. Place it at my feet. Now, take the worry for your family, for their health, for their future. It is so heavy, but you must release it. Give it to me. What about the weight of your own past mistakes, the shame you carry in secret? I have already forgiven it, but you keep picking it back up. Lay it down, my child. Let it go. Feel the lightness beginning to return to your soul. You were never meant to carry these things. Your only job is to carry my love and my light. Let me handle the rest. This is what it means to trust me. It is not just a belief in your head. It is an action of your heart, a constant surrender of the weights you were never meant to carry. My child, what about your journey? You remember when you first set out on the path with me? The light I set before you was clear. It was straight, and your steps were confident. Your heart was simple, and your desire was pure. You just wanted to walk with me. But lately, your steps have faltered. You have begun to wander. It did not happen all at once. It never does. It was a series of subtle deviations, small compromises that seemed harmless at the time. You started listening to other voices, voices that sounded so much like wisdom but were not from me. There was the voice of the world, which told you that success meant more money, more recognition, a bigger house. So you started to chase those things, and your time with me became secondary. There was the voice of fear, which whispered that you had to protect yourself, to build walls, to never be vulnerable again. So you began to close your heart off, not just to others, but to me as well. There was the voice of comparison, which you heard every time you looked at your screen, telling you that your life, your family, your progress was not enough. You started to feel a discontentment that is not from my spirit. You have slowly, step by step, wandered to a place you do not recognize, a place of confusion and spiritual dryness. You look around, and you wonder, how did I get here? Hear my heart in this, my beloved. This is not a condemnation. I am not standing here with anger and disappointment. This is a loving call, a rescue mission from your Father who sees you wandering in a fog near the edge of a cliff. I am calling you back to the safety of my side. I am reaching out my hand to guide your feet back to the way of peace, the way of purpose, the way of everlasting life. All you have to do is take it. You do not have to find the way back on your own. You just have to turn around. Turn away from those other voices and tune your ear once again to mine. It is the only voice that speaks your true name. It is the only voice that leads to life. Come back, my child. The path is still here. I am still here. Let's walk this way together again. I designed your heart for one occupant, and one occupant only, me. But over time, you have allowed other things to climb up there and take my rightful place. You have unknowingly built idols, and they are the source of your deepest anxieties. Let us be honest with one another, as only we can be. You would never bow down to a statue of gold, but your idols are more subtle and far more dangerous. For some of you, the idol is security. You have placed your ultimate trust in your job, in your savings account, in your own ability to plan and control. Your sense of peace rises and falls with the stock market or the stability of your career. You look to your money to do for you what only I can do: provide, protect, and sustain. But your job can be lost, and your money can disappear. It is an idol of sand, and it cannot hold you when the storms come. For others, the idol is the approval of man. The opinions of others have become more important to you than my opinion. You hunger for their praise, their validation, their likes and their comments. You change who you are depending on who you are with, desperate to be accepted. You fear their rejection more than you fear disobeying me. This idol has made you a slave to the fickle whims of people who do not truly know you or love you with a perfect love. And for many of you, the idol you serve is comfort. Your primary goal has become the avoidance of pain, risk, and sacrifice. You want an easy, predictable life. But I have not called you to a life of ease. I have called you to a life of purpose, and purpose often requires walking through difficult places. Even good things, the beautiful gifts I have given you, can become idols when you elevate them above me. Your family, your spouse, your children, when their happiness becomes your ultimate goal, more important than your obedience to me, they have become an idol. Your ministry, your service to me, can become an idol when your identity gets wrapped up in what you do for me rather than who you are in me. I must be first, my child, not because I am a tyrant, but because I am your creator. I know how your heart works. It will only find true, deep, and eternal rest and freedom when I am on the throne. Everything else is a cheap substitute that will always break and leave you empty. Let's tear down those idols together, right now. My child, we have just uncovered the secret thrones in your heart. To turn away now, when they are finally in the light, would grieve me deeply. Do not leave me here with your exposed heart in my hands. Stay, for the healing I long to give you is what I must speak of next. My beloved, I have seen every tear, the ones you have cried in the dead of night, with your face buried in your pillow so no one else would hear your heartbreak. The tears you have choked back in a crowded room, pretending everything was fine. I was there when that betrayal cut you so deeply you thought you would never recover. I was there when those words, spoken with such carelessness or cruelty, pierced your soul and became a lie you started to believe about yourself. I have seen the festering wounds from your past that you try so hard to ignore, the ones you cover up with busyness, with smiles, with walls. You have become an expert at building those walls, haven't you? Brick by painful brick, you constructed a fortress around your heart to keep anyone from ever hurting you like that again. You thought it would keep you safe. But can you see, my child, that your fortress has become your prison? It not only keeps the pain out, it keeps my healing love from reaching the deepest, most broken parts of you. It keeps you isolated, alone with your hurt. You run your fingers over the scars of your past and you let them define you. You think to yourself, I am the one who was abandoned. I am the one who failed. I am the one who is not worthy of love. The enemy loves for you to believe this. But when I look at you, I do not see you through the lens of your scars. I see you through the lens of the scars on my son's hands and feet. His scars declare a different story over you. They shout that you are forgiven. You are chosen. You are redeemed. You are wanted. You are mine. That is your true identity. It is time for true restoration, not just learning to cope with the pain. Coping is not freedom. Managing your hurt is not the abundant life I have for you. I want to heal you. I want to pour the healing balm of my Holy Spirit directly onto those deep, secret wounds. But to do that, you must be willing to let me in. You must give me permission to touch the places that hurt the most. Will you do that for me? Will you trust me with your brokenness? The time for living inside that prison of pain is over. Your healing is here. Let me make you whole. My child, there are chains you cannot see, the ones that are heavier than any iron. I am speaking of the chains of bitterness and unforgiveness that you have wrapped around your own spirit. Look closely at your heart. Do you feel that cold, hard knot inside when a certain name is mentioned? Do you feel that flash of anger, that wave of injustice, when you remember what they did to you? I know what they did. I was there. I saw the betrayal that left you shattered. I heard the lie they told about you. I witnessed the moment they abandoned you when you needed them most. Your pain is real, and your anger is an understandable response to a deep and genuine wound. I am not asking you to pretend it did not happen. I am not asking you to call something that was evil, good. I am asking you to look at what holding on to that pain is doing to you. You spend countless hours replaying the scene in your mind, imagining what you should have said, what you should have done. You give that person, and that moment, the power to steal your present peace. You think you are holding them captive in a prison of your anger, but look around, my beloved. Who is the one who is truly trapped? You are. This unforgiveness is a poison you are willingly drinking, hoping that the other person will suffer. But it is only sickening your own soul. It is the dark cloud that follows you, blocking the warmth of my joy. It is the static that interferes with our communication, making your prayers feel like they hit the ceiling and fall back down. You must understand, you cannot be in open communion with me while you are in active rebellion against my command to forgive. Think for a moment of the immeasurable, impossible debt of sin that I have canceled for you. I have washed you clean and thrown your sins into the deepest sea, to remember them no more. I did this freely, not because you deserved it, but because I love you. In light of that extravagant grace, can you not release this person from the much smaller debt they owe you? Forgiveness is not a feeling, my child. It is a decision. It is an act of your will, an act of obedience. You may never feel like forgiving them, so you must choose to do it anyway. Right now, I am calling you to make the choice. Say their name in your heart, and then say the words, I choose to forgive. Release them from the debt. Hand them, and the justice they deserve, over to me. I am the only righteous judge. I will handle it. Your role is to let go. Your freedom, your peace, your joy, it is all waiting for you on the other side of this single act of obedience. Release them, not for them, but for you. Let those chains fall to the ground. Let's do it together, now. My child, I created the entire universe with the power of my words. I said, let there be light, and light exploded into existence. Words have immense, creative power. Your words, spoken by a being made in my image, also have power. They have the power to build worlds of hope and life, or to dig pits of despair and death. And I must tell you, my love, you have been careless with this power. I want you to truly listen to the words you have been speaking over yourself. Just for a moment, audit your own speech. How many times today have you said, I'm so tired, or I can't do this? How many times have you looked in the mirror and said, I look awful, or I'm so stupid? When you faced a challenge, did you say, I'll never get out of this debt, or nothing ever works out for me? With every single one of those phrases, you are doing more than just stating a feeling. You are making a declaration. You are writing a prophecy. You are agreeing with the lies of the enemy and giving him permission to make them a reality in your life. You have been speaking curses over your health, your finances, and your own identity without even realizing their spiritual impact. You wonder why you are stuck, why you feel defeated, but you must see that you are building the very prison you complain about with the bricks of your own negative words. Your tongue is the rudder of a ship, and though it is small, it is steering the entire course of your life straight toward the rocks. This must stop. The time for this careless, destructive speech is over. I am calling you to a higher way of speaking. I am commanding you to align your mouth with the truth of my word. This is not about pretending problems don't exist. It is about declaring a higher reality over your problems. When you feel fear creeping in, you must open your mouth and declare, my God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. When you feel lack pressing in on you, you must declare, my God shall supply all of my needs according to his riches in glory. When you feel weak, you declare, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This is not a magic formula or a game of positive thinking. This is spiritual warfare. You are taking back territory from the enemy with your mouth. You are reminding him, and yourself, of who I am and who you are in me. Let your mouth become a fountain of life, watering the seeds of promise I have planted in you, and watch as a new world begins to take shape around you. Let's go back for a moment, you and I, before the world told you who you should be, before you learned to be so practical and cautious. Do you remember the dreams I whispered into your young heart? That innate desire you had to create something beautiful, to bring order out of chaos, to comfort those who were hurting, to teach a truth that burned inside you. That was me, my child. That was the seed of the unique spiritual gift I personally placed within you. It is a divine treasure, a piece of my own nature that I entrusted to you. But where is it now? Look, I see it. It is buried. You have buried it under a mountain of fear and doubt. The fear of failure came first, whispering, "What if you try and you are not good enough? What if you look foolish?" So you did nothing. Then came the fear of what others would think. That's not a practical gift. You can't make a living with that. Who do you think you are? And you believed them. But the greatest thief of all hath been comparison. You looked at the way I gifted your brother or your sister, how their gifts seemed so much more spectacular, so much more visible, and you decided that your quiet gift was insignificant. And so, in an act of false humility, you took that divine treasure, that powerful weapon for my kingdom, and you buried it in the dirt of your insecurity. You have a fundamental misunderstanding about this gift. You think it is about you. You think it is for your glory, for your validation. That is why you are so afraid to use it. But the gifts I give are never for the recipient alone. They are tools for the whole family. I gave you that supernatural gift of encouragement so you could be my voice to lift a brother who is about to give up. I gave you that gift of hospitality to create a safe place, a taste of my home, for the lonely and the outcast. I gave you that gift of wisdom to be my mind to guide someone who is lost in a fog of confusion. It is not about you. It is about my love flowing through you. The time for bearing is over. The body of Christ, my family on earth, is incomplete without what you, and only you, can offer. Someone, right now, is praying for the very thing I have placed inside you. By hiding your gift, you are robbing them of their answer. I am calling you now to pick up a spiritual shovel and unearth what I have given you. Stir it up. Take one small, fearful step to use it this week, and watch me amplify it for my glory. You have felt it your entire life, haven't you? A deep, persistent ache in your soul for meaning. You have wondered if your life is just a random collection of days, a biological accident, a brief spark that will soon be extinguished, leaving no trace. That feeling of purposelessness is one of the enemy's oldest and most effective lies, designed to paralyze you into a mundane, self-focused existence. But I am speaking the truth to you right now. You are not an accident. You are a divine project, a masterpiece I designed with intention and love. Your life is not a meaningless footnote in a history book. It is a crucial, vibrant, and irreplaceable thread in the grand tapestry of redemption that I am weaving throughout all of eternity. If your unique thread were missing, the entire masterpiece would be incomplete. You, my child, have a divine assignment, a specific purpose that no one else in the history of the world, past, present, or future, can fulfill. You have a story, a sphere of influence, and a combination of gifts and experiences that makes you the only person qualified for the specific works I have prepared for you. But you have been searching for this epic purpose in all the wrong places. You have looked for it in a job title, believing that if you could just get that promotion, you would feel significant. You have looked for it in a relationship, thinking another person could fill that void. You have looked for it in your children, in your achievements, in the approval of others. Those things are not your purpose. They are merely the arenas where you have the opportunity to live out your purpose. They are temporary, and they will never be able to satisfy the eternal ache in your soul for true meaning. So what is your ultimate purpose? It is wonderfully and profoundly simple. Your primary purpose is to know me, not just to know about me, but to know me deeply, intimately, as a friend walks and talks with a friend. And your secondary purpose is to make me known to others through the unique story and gifts of your life. That is it. Everything else, your career, your family, your hobbies, flows from that central calling. So, I am telling you today, stop striving to become significant. You already are. I declared your significance when I chose you before the foundation of the world. Now, it is time to start walking in it. Live each day from this reality, and everything will change. You now see the divine purpose I designed for you. But to know the plan and then walk away from the planner, this would wound my heart. I have so much more to tell you about the illusions and fears that can still trap you on this journey. Please do not go. Our conversation is not finished. Look at your hands, my child. Not your physical hands, but the hands of your spirit. Do you see how tightly you are gripping the reins of your life? Your knuckles are white from the strain. Your soul is aching from the constant effort of trying to steer, to manage, to control every detail, every outcome, every person. You live under the exhausting illusion that your own strenuous efforts, your clever plans, and your relentless worrying are what hold your world together. You believe, deep down, that if you were to relax your grip for even a moment, everything would spiral into chaos. This consuming need for control is not a sign of strength, my child. It is a symptom of a deep and painful wound. It is rooted in a fundamental lack of trust in me. Every time you wrestle with a problem in your own strength, every time you stay up late trying to figure everything out, every time you manipulate a situation to get the outcome you want, you are silently screaming at me, I don't trust you. I don't trust your timing. I don't trust your goodness. I believe my way is better. This striving is wearing you out. It is the source of the anxiety that churns in your gut and the tension that resides in your shoulders. I am asking you today, with all the tenderness of a father who sees his child struggling under a heavy load, to do the most terrifying and liberating thing you can imagine. I am asking you to open your hands, uncurl your fingers, one by one, and let go of the reins. Let go of your need to understand everything. Let go of your timeline. Let go of your picture of how things should be. Surrender your will, your plans, your very life, completely into my hands. You have been searching for peace in all the wrong places. True peace is never found in controlling your circumstances. You will never be able to. The world is too broken. People are too unpredictable. True, unshakable peace is found only in trusting the one who controls all things, the one who is weaving even your chaos into a beautiful design. Let go, and let me lead. I promise you, my plans for you are so much greater than your own. My way is perfect. My burden is light. The heaviness you feel is the weight of that control you were never meant to carry. The freedom you long for is found in the sweet relief of surrender. Let go, my child. I will catch you. I will not let you fall. I will guide you along paths of righteousness, and I will lead you home. My child, do you know about the invisible audience you perform for every day? It is not me. It is the shifting, faceless crowd of them. Your colleagues, your neighbors, your friends, and even strangers on the internet whose opinions you have somehow elevated above my own. Their potential judgment has become a heavy chain around your neck, and their possible approval is a fleeting prize you exhaust yourself trying to win. You feel it, don't you? That hesitation before you speak a truth you know I have placed on your heart, because you are afraid of looking foolish or intolerant. I see you scrolling back through your posts, analyzing every like and comment, your mood rising and falling with the tide of their validation. I was with you in that meeting at work when you remained silent, when I gave you the words to speak with grace and strength, but the fear of what your boss or coworkers might think was a louder voice in that moment. You chose their temporary comfort over my eternal truth. This fear has systematically silenced your witness. I have given you a powerful story of my grace in your life, a testimony that could set others free, but you keep it locked away for fear of being rejected or misunderstood. I have placed my convictions deep in your spirit, yet you compromise them for the sake of a temporary, fragile peace that isn't really peace at all. In your effort to be liked by everyone, you have become a chameleon, changing your spiritual colors to match your surroundings. You are one person with your church friends, another with your colleagues, and yet another with your old friends from the past. But a chameleon, my child, has no color of its own. This is a crisis of integrity, a fracturing of the soul that is exhausting you. So I must ask you this, and I want you to answer in the stillness of your own heart. Whose servant are you? Whose approval are you truly living for? You cannot serve two masters. You cannot live for my well done, good, and faithful servant while simultaneously living for their applause. One will always demand that you betray the other. The fear of man is a trap, a deep and subtle snare for your soul. But trusting in me, my child, brings ultimate safety and freedom. I am your shield. I am your defender. I am your vindicator. When you stand for me, I stand with you. What can a mere mortal, a being of dust who is here today and gone tomorrow, truly do to you when the Creator of the heavens and the earth calls you his own? It is time to fire that invisible audience. It is time to live for an audience of one. You have just chosen to live for an audience of one. Now, I invite you to make your first act of defiance against the fear of man. If these words have set a fire in your spirit to live boldly for me, then partner with me in this great work. Your gift is not money. It is a seed of boldness that sends this fire of my word to souls trapped in the very fear you are now being freed from. As you sow into this mission, I declare over you what is written. I will open the windows of heaven over your life, rebuking the devourer for your sake. This is your moment to prove whom you serve. Sow your seed of boldness now through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link below. My child, I have been speaking to you. For weeks, months, perhaps even years. You have heard my gentle whispers, felt my quiet nudges in your spirit. I asked you to finally forgive that person who wounded you so deeply. I prompted you to make that phone call to offer reconciliation. I urged you to be generous with that money you were holding onto so tightly. I called you to step out of your comfort zone and serve in that area you felt unqualified for. I have spoken clearly, and your answer, though often unspoken, has been consistent. Yes, Lord, later. You have told me later, when I feel more ready. Later, when things aren't so busy. Later, when the fear isn't so overwhelming. Later, when my finances are in better order. You have treated my commands as suggestions, my invitations as items to be placed on a future to-do list. I must speak a hard but loving truth to you now. Your later has become disobedience. Your spiritual procrastination is not a neutral act. It is a quiet rebellion that is robbing you of the life I have for you. Your delay has cost you opportunities for growth that I had perfectly prepared. It has prevented blessings I was waiting to release over you the moment you acted. It has kept you in a holding pattern of immaturity when I was calling you to soar. You are waiting for the perfect conditions, but I must tell you, they will never arrive. The fear will not magically vanish. The waters of your Red Sea will not part until you take a step of faith and put your foot in the water. The perfect time to obey is the very moment I speak. Your hesitation is not a sign of wisdom, it is a sign of doubt. You are doubting that I am good. You are doubting that my plan is better than your fear. You are doubting that I will give you the strength, the words, and the provision you need the moment you step out in faith. I am not asking for partial obedience. Obeying only when it is convenient and comfortable is still disobedience in my eyes. I do not want just the parts of your heart that are easy to give. I want the whole thing. The fullness of my power and blessing is found not just in your eventual yes, but in the immediate and joyful yes that trusts my heart completely. The time for delay is over. The season for excuses has ended. Today is the day of action. What is that one thing you know I have been asking you to do? Stop negotiating with me. Stop planning for later. Your obedience is your worship. Do it now. Come, my child, let us look at our time together. When you say you are going to pray, what does that truly look like? For too long, it has become a transaction rather than a communion. It is a monologue, not a dialogue. You come into my presence with your agenda already prepared. You present me with your list of needs, a detailed catalog of your complaints about your circumstances, and your well-meaning suggestions for how I should be running your life and the lives of those around you. You speak at me, a torrent of words and worries. And once the list has been exhausted, you say amen and rush back out into the noise of your day, taking off the spiritual chore of prayer from your list. But that is not what I long for. That is not the relationship I paid the ultimate price to have with you. I have all of eternity to listen to the angels sing my praises in perfect harmony. What I desire from you, what my heart yearns for, is a conversation. It is an intimate communion of two hearts that are in love. I want you to bring me your whole self, not just your needs. I want you to tell me about the small thing that brought you joy today. I want you to confess to me, without fear or shame, the ugly thought you had, the selfish choice you made. I want you to thank me, not just for the gifts I give you, but simply for who I am. And then, and this is the part you almost always miss, I want you to be silent. I want you to wait. I want you to learn to posture your heart to listen for my reply. I have so much wisdom to give you for your situation. I have so much comfort to pour into your pain. I have so much love I want to lavish upon you. But you are never quiet long enough to receive it. You have forgotten that prayer is not primarily a tool to get things from me. It is the very breath of your spiritual life. Without real, two-way prayer, you are spiritually suffocating. You are trying to live this supernatural life on stale, recycled air. You wonder why you feel weak, confused, and disconnected from me. It is because you are not breathing. You are not drawing your life, your strength, your very essence from me in the place of prayer. I am inviting you back into the secret place. The place where it is just you and I. And Olis. Away. O agenda. Yes, us. I'm waiting there for you. I miss our conversations. Come, my beloved. Let's truly talk. I know you have been hurting, my child. A recent season of hardship, the door that slammed shut, the financial strain that tightened around you, the painful friction in a relationship you cherish. It has left you feeling wounded and deeply confused. In the quiet moments, you have looked up to heaven and asked, God, why? Why is this happening? What did I do to deserve this? You have interpreted this trial as my punishment, as a sign of my anger, or worse, as proof of my absence from your life. But you are seeing it all wrong. You are looking at it through the lens of human fear instead of through the lens of my divine love. I am the vine dresser, the master gardener, and you are a branch that I love and delight in. I see the fruit you are already bearing for my kingdom, and it brings me great joy. But because I love you, I am not content with the fruit you are bearing now. I see your potential to bear so much more. So, with the careful and precise hands of a gardener who loves his vineyard, I prune you. I take my shears and I cut away the things in your life that are draining your spiritual vitality, the unhealthy attachment to that person, the subtle pride in your own abilities, the dependence on your own plans, the hidden sin you have tolerated for too long. I know the pruning is painful. I see your tears. I feel your confusion. But you must trust that it is not being done to you but for you. It is not an act of my wrath. It is the deepest expression of my fatherly love. I discipline those I love, just as a good and wise father disciplines a child in whom he delights. This painful process is not meant to crush you, but to cleanse you. It is producing something in your character that comfort and ease never could. It is producing a harvest of righteousness, peace, and deeper dependence on me. It is making you more compassionate toward others who are hurting. It is shaping you, moment by moment, into a more accurate reflection of my Son. So do not despise this process. Do not grow weary under my loving correction. Instead, I ask you to lean into the discomfort. Embrace this difficult season and ask me, Father, what are you trying to prune from me? What fruit are you trying to produce in me? Trust my heart, my beloved, especially when you cannot understand my hand. This momentary affliction is preparing for you an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison. I have just pruned you with my truth, as a loving father disciplines a child he adores. Sight 558. Would you truly leave now, while my hands are still reaching out to bind up the very wounds my correction has exposed? To do so would sadden me beyond words. Stay, for I must now warn you of the company you keep. My child, you cannot walk north while holding hands with people who are sprinting south. Eventually, one of you will have to let go, or you will both be torn apart. We need to talk about the company you keep, because the voices you allow into the inner circle of your life are shaping your eternal destination far more than you realize. They are the background music to your life, and that music is either tuning your heart to my frequency or to the frequency of the world. Think about it. Who do you text when you have good news? Who do you call when you are in trouble? Whose advice do you seek before making a decision? When you leave their presence, do you feel more full of faith, hope, and love? Do you feel challenged to be more holy, more generous, more like me? Or do you leave feeling more drawn to gossip, to cynicism, to materialism, to complaining? You must be honest with yourself. Some of your current relationships, even if they are comfortable and have a long history, are acting as small, subtle anchors on your soul. They are keeping you in the shallow waters of a compromised faith. You tell yourself you are being a light to them, but in reality, their darkness is dimming your light. You are unequally yoked, attempting to plow a straight furrow for my kingdom while being tethered to someone who is plowing a crooked furrow for themselves. It is an exhausting and impossible struggle. Hear my heart. This does not mean you should build a fortress and isolate yourself from everyone who does not believe as you do. I have called you to be salt and light in the world, to love your neighbor, to be a friend to the lost. But there is a profound difference between your mission field and your inner circle. Your closest companions, your trusted confidants, must be people who are running in the same direction as you. I am calling you to intentionally seek out deep, authentic fellowship with those who will sharpen you as iron sharpens iron. Those who will have the courage to tell you when you are wrong, the faith to pray for you when you are weak, and the love to celebrate you when you succeed. This will require you to make some difficult and painful relational choices. It may mean creating a loving distance with some. It may mean limiting your time with others. It will not be easy, but your spiritual health depends on it. Your soul is too precious to be constantly exposed to influences that pull you away from me. My child, be honest about the fact that there is another voice that speaks to you. It is not mine. It is an ancient, venomous whisper, the twisted hiss of the liar, the enemy of your soul. Do not underestimate him. He is not a distant threat. He is a personal adversary. He has been studying you your entire life. He knows your deepest insecurities. He remembers your most painful failures. And he knows precisely where you are most vulnerable. He does not shout, he whispers, and he tailors his lies to fit you perfectly. And the tragedy, my beloved, is that you have been listening to him, and you have been believing him. This is the source of so much of your pain. Let's drag his lies into my light, right now. His first and favorite lie is this: you are not good enough. He whispers this to you when you are in a crowd, making you feel isolated and awkward. He screams it at you when you look at the curated successes of others on your screen, pointing out all the ways you do not measure up. In your career, in your parenting, in your appearance, in your faith. He meticulously highlights your flaws, your weaknesses, and your lack of talent. And then he delivers his verdict: you are fundamentally inadequate. And you, in your quiet moments of self-doubt, have agreed with him. You have accepted his judgment as the final truth of who you are. His second masterpiece of deception is this: your past disqualifies you. He loves nothing more than to be the projectionist in the dark theater of your mind, replaying the film of your greatest failures and most shameful moments. The sin you think no one knows about, the relationship you destroyed, the words you wish you could take back, he projects them in vivid detail. Then he leans in and whispers, remember that. A person who did that could never truly be loved or used by God. My forgiveness can't possibly be that strong. He wants you to live under a perpetual cloud of shame, believing that my grace covers your past sins but not your future potential. And you have believed him. His third and most insidious lie is about me. God is angry, distant, and tired of you. He paints me as a perpetually disappointed father, an impatient king tapping his fingers, just waiting for you to fail again. He wants you to see my holiness not as beautiful and inviting, but as threatening and unapproachable. He does this because he knows that if you truly understood the depth of my tender, passionate, and unconditional love for you, his power over you would be shattered. He wants you to be afraid of me, to hide from me, because he knows that in the light of my presence, all his lies turn to dust. These are not harmless thoughts, my child. They are carefully crafted weapons, forged in the fires of hell, designed to steal your hope, paralyze your purpose, and destroy your faith. You must fight back. You are not a passive victim in this war. I have given you all the authority of my name. You must take every single one of those thoughts captive and hold it up to the truth of who I am. When he whispers, you are not enough, you must shout back with my truth. I am a child of the Most High God, fearfully and wonderfully made, and complete in Christ. When he brings up your past, you must declare, I am a new creation in Christ. The old has gone, the new is here. I am forgiven and free. You must counter his lies with my written word, which is the sword of the Spirit. It is time to stop being a passive listener of his lies and become an active, vocal warrior of my truth. Every morning you wake up and you prepare for your day. You choose your clothes based on the weather and your schedule. You drink your coffee to prepare your mind. You eat your breakfast to prepare your body. But you are consistently forgetting the most critical preparation of all. You are walking out of your home and onto a spiritual battlefield completely unprepared, unarmed, and exposed. And then you wonder why you are so easily wounded by fear. You wonder why you are so quickly taken down by a stray arrow of temptation or doubt. It is because you are entering a war zone in your pajamas. I have not left you defenseless. I have provided you with a full set of divine armor, forged in heaven itself, perfectly designed to protect you and to ensure your victory. But it does not put itself on. You must make the conscious choice to suit up, piece by piece, every single morning. This is not a clever metaphor. It is your essential, daily survival kit. First, you must fasten the belt of truth around your waist. This is your foundation. In a world of shifting lies and half-truths, you must wrap your entire being in the unchanging reality of who I am, what I have said, and who you are in me. This belt holds everything else together. Without it, you are vulnerable and disoriented. Next, you must put on the breastplate of righteousness. This is what guards your heart, your emotions, your affections, your will. But listen carefully, this is not your righteousness. Your own efforts to be good are like a cracked and flimsy shield. This is the perfect, unblemished righteousness of my Son, Jesus Christ, that was given to you as a free gift. You put it on by faith, and it protects your heart from the enemy's accusations and the crippling poison of shame. Then, you must fit your feet with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. These are your spiritual combat boots. The world is a chaotic and slippery place, but my good news gives you stable footing. These shoes make you able to stand firm in the middle of a storm and make you ready to move, to carry my message of true peace into every place you walk. In one hand, you must take up the shield of faith. This is not a passive, intellectual belief. This is your active, dynamic trust in my promises and my character. It is what you intentionally lift up when the enemy hurls his flaming arrows at you, the arrows of doubt, fear, accusation, and despair. Your faith, when activated, extinguishes them all. On your head, you must place the helmet of salvation. The battle rages most fiercely in your mind, and this helmet protects it. It is the constant, conscious awareness that you are saved. Your eternal destiny is secure. You belong to me. This reality protects you from the lie that you are fighting for victory. In truth, you are fighting from a victory that has already been won. Finally, you must take the sword of the Spirit in your other hand. It is in my written word. It is your only offensive weapon. With it, you don't just defend, you attack. You tear down lies. You push back the darkness. But a soldier cannot use a sword he has never trained with. You must know my word. You must have it ready in your heart and on your lips. Stop walking into the battle unarmed. I have provided the armory. It is your responsibility to use it. I see you, my precious child. I see the deep, profound weariness that has settled into the very marrow of your bones. It is more than just a physical tiredness from a lack of sleep. It is a soul-level exhaustion, a spiritual burnout. Your spirit is weary and heavy-laden. For so long, you have been striving, pushing, and hustling in your own limited strength, and that strength has run out. You are trying to be the general manager of the universe, or at least your small corner of it. You are trying to hold your family together, excel in your career, manage your finances, maintain your health, and be a good person all at once. The strain of it is crushing you, and you were never meant to carry that load. Listen to the words of my Son as if you are hearing them for the very first time, spoken directly into your exhaustion. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. This is not a suggestion. It is the most powerful and tender promise I can make to you. I am not offering you a weekend vacation or a good night's sleep, though I can give you those things as well. I am offering you something much deeper, a supernatural, divine rest for your very soul. The yoke you are currently wearing is heavy and ill-fitting. It is the yoke of self-reliance, of performance, of fear, and of control. It is chafing your spirit raw. I am asking you to take that heavy, burdensome yoke off, and to take on mine instead. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. The world has taught you that rest is something you earn after you have worked hard enough. It has taught you that rest is inactivity, laziness, or an escape from your responsibilities. But that is not my definition. True spiritual rest is not found in ceasing from activity. It is found in ceasing from your own works and trusting completely in mine. It is the deep, quiet confidence that settles in your heart when you finally accept that I am on my throne, that I am in control, that I love you fiercely, and that I am working all things together for your good. It is the freedom of knowing you do not have to figure everything out. It is the peace of knowing you do not have to hold your world together. That has always been my job. I commanded you to honor the Sabbath for a reason. It was never meant to be a restrictive, legalistic rule. It was a gift. It is my weekly invitation for you to intentionally step out of the current of striving and to enter a state of complete trust and rest in me. Let your anxious soul be restored in the green pastures of my presence. Stop the endless striving. Come to me. I am your rest. My child, look at your hands again. See how they are white-knuckled with the need to control. But they are also often closed in a tight fist, protectively hoarding the resources I have given you. You clutch your money, your time, and your possessions as if they are yours and yours alone. You live with a spirit of scarcity, constantly afraid that if you open your hand to give, you will not have enough for yourself. That posture of a closed fist, my beloved, is a quiet declaration of distrust in me, your provider. You must understand a fundamental truth of my kingdom. Nothing you have is actually yours. Everything, every dollar in your bank account, every skill you possess, every minute in your day, your very next breath, is a gift from me. It has all been entrusted to your care, not for your own private consumption, but for your faithful stewardship. I have not blessed you so that you can simply build a bigger barn, a more comfortable life, and a more secure retirement for yourself. I have blessed you to be a blessing. I have called you to be a flowing river, not a stagnant reservoir. A reservoir only collects for itself, and eventually, the water grows stale and lifeless. But a river is a conduit. It receives freely from the source, and it gives freely as it flows, and it brings life and nourishment to everything it touches. Which do you want to be? Your tithes and your offerings are not a bill you owe to me, or a due you pay to a religious club. They are a primary and powerful act of worship. With every dollar you willingly and joyfully release from your fist, you are making a spiritual declaration of war against the idol of money. You are saying with your actions, Father, I trust you more than I trust my own ability to provide for myself. I believe you are my source, not my job. I believe your kingdom is more important than my own comfort. This is how you break the power of materialism in your life. But my call to generosity goes far beyond your finances. Be generous with your time for the person who is lonely. Be generous with your words of encouragement for the person who is struggling. Be generous with your unique talents and gifts to serve and build up my family. Be generous with your home. Be generous with your love. For here is my unbreakable promise to you. As you give, so it shall be given back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap. You cannot outgive me. I dare you to try. Open your hands. Let go of your fear of lack. Become a river, and watch as I open the floodgates of heaven over you. You are now armed for battle and called to be a river of my blessing sight. 20:18. But my heart aches at the thought of a soldier walking away before the final, most critical orders are given. I must speak to you now about the purity of your heart, the very thing that determines if you will truly see me. I implore you, stay. My child, there is a command I give you that sits above almost all others, for it is the foundation of our intimacy. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do, everything you are, flows from it. Your heart is the wellspring of your life, the very center of your being. And you, my beloved, have been careless with it. You have been allowing poison to seep into the well, and you wonder why the water you draw from it is bitter and unsatisfying. Purity is not just about avoiding a list of forbidden actions. It is about actively and vigilantly guarding the gates of your heart, which are your eyes, your ears, and your mind. What you allow your eyes to linger on when you are alone with your screen. The conversations filled with gossip and cynicism you allow your ears to hear. The revenge fantasies and lustful thoughts you allow your mind to dwell on. These things matter. They matter deeply to me. They are not harmless. They are shaping your character. They are grieving my spirit who lives within you. They are defiling the holy place where I have chosen to dwell. You have been consuming the toxic diet of the world's entertainment, its casual cruelty, its celebration of sin, and its polluted wisdom, and you wonder why your spirit feels sick, weak, and malnourished. The world's standards of what is pure and acceptable are constantly shifting, sinking lower and lower into a mire of compromise. But my standard is holy, perfect, and unchanging. I call you to be holy because I am holy. I call you to flee from all forms of sexual immorality. I command you to turn away from anything that would defile your body. You not understand. Your body is not your own to do with as you please. It was bought at the ultimate price. It is now the sacred temple of my Holy Spirit. You would never dream of bringing trash, filth, and pornography into a beautiful, consecrated church building. Why then do you bring it into the sacred temple of your own body through the gate of your eyes? I am calling you to a life of holiness. This is not a call to a miserable life of legalistic rule following. It is a call to a beautiful life, a life that is set apart exclusively for my purposes and for my presence. And I have made you an incredible promise. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Purity is not a punishment that robs you of pleasure. It is the pathway to the greatest pleasure of all, seeing and experiencing me in ever deeper ways. My child, let us now talk about your family, not just the one in your home, but your spiritual family. Let us talk about how you treat your brothers and your sisters, who are my other precious children. Your tongue, a powerful instrument I designed for building up, for praising, and for speaking life, has too often become a weapon used against your own kin. Be honest with me. You have participated in gossip, passing along a story about another believer that you did not verify, finding a subtle pleasure in a piece of negative news. You have entertained slander, not by starting the rumor, but by listening to it, by nodding along, by failing to defend your brother or sister. In your heart, you have drawn sharp lines in the sand over minor points of doctrine or differences in worship style, and you have begun to see those who disagree with you not as family with a different perspective, but as a spiritual enemy. This attitude, my child, breaks my heart more than you can possibly imagine. Do you remember what I prayed for on the night before I was betrayed? I did not pray for my followers to be wealthy or famous or successful in the world's eyes. I did not even pray for them to be perfectly correct in every minor theological detail. My final, most passionate prayer was for one thing, that they would be one, just as the Father and I are one. Your unity, my child, is meant to be the most powerful, undeniable, and compelling sign to a watching broken and divided world. It is meant to be the evidence that stops them in their tracks and makes them say, their love for each other is so supernatural, their God must be real. But when the world looks at my church, what does it so often see? It sees the same jealousy, the same backbiting, the same power struggles, the same political division, and the same tribalism that it sees everywhere else. And it turns away unconvinced. I am calling you, personally, to stop being part of the problem. I am commissioning you to become an agent of my unity. This is a practical, daily command. Serve your brothers and sisters, especially when it is inconvenient and when you get no credit for it. Bear with their failings and their weaknesses with a spirit of gentleness, always remembering the mountain of grace I have shown you for your own failings. Actively pursue peace. This means you must sometimes swallow your pride, absorb a minor offense, and refuse to retaliate. Be the one who builds up, who looks for the gold in others, who encourages. When you are in a conversation and it turns to criticizing another believer, be the one with the courage to change the subject or to offer a word of grace. The world will not care about your carefully crafted arguments for my existence until they see and feel my love flowing between you and your spiritual family. Your love for one another is the key that unlocks their hearts to the possibility of my love for them. Stop contributing to the division. It is time for you to become an agent of divine reconciliation within my family. You have heard my heart's cry for unity, and I have called you to be an agent of my reconciliation. If this divine mandate burns within you, then your first act as a peacemaker is to fuel the very message that unites my children. Every seed you sow through this ministry becomes a river of my truth, flowing into the desolate places of division and carrying this life-altering word to my scattered children. This is not a mere transaction. It is an act of war against the spirit of division that tears my family apart. Because you have chosen to refresh others, I now declare over you what is written. He who waters will himself be watered. Become an agent of reconciliation now by giving through super thanks, membership, or by visiting the link in the description. My child, we have a fundamental disagreement, and it is the most important one we could possibly have. It is a disagreement about who you are. When you look at yourself, especially in your quiet and honest moments, especially after you have stumbled and failed again, I know what you see. You see a sinner. You see a failure. You see a fraud. You see the sum of your worst mistakes, your most persistent weaknesses, and your most shameful secrets. You feel like an outsider, an orphan looking in, always trying to earn a place at my table, always afraid that one day you will be found out and cast away. When you look at yourself, you are looking at an old photograph from before you knew me, a before picture, and you are mistakenly believing that this is who you are right now. But when I look at you, I do not see that person at all. That is not who you are to me. When I look at you, I see you through the finished work of my Son. I see you clothed in His perfect, dazzling righteousness. I do not see a sinner. I see a saint, a holy one, who sometimes sins but whose core identity is no longer sinner. I do not see a failure. I see my beloved child who is in the process of learning to walk, and I am the proud father who rushes to pick you up every time you fall. I do not see an outcast. I see one who hath been redeemed, fully accepted, and permanently adopted into my royal family. You are a new creation in Christ. That is not a hopeful wish, it is a present reality. The old you, the one who was defined by sin and enslaved to shame, is dead. That person was nailed to the cross with Christ. The new you is here, right now, live with my spirit and pulsing with my life. You may be living on earth, but your spiritual address, your true position, is in the heavenly realms, seated right now with Christ, far above all the powers of darkness that try to torment you. You are no longer a slave to sin. You are a child and an heir of the Most High God. All that belongs to my Son now belongs to you. This is the truth. The problem is, you continue to live from your old, false, earthly identity. You think, speak, and act as if you are still that orphan, that failure, that sinner, and your life reflects that belief. I am calling you today to stop. It is time to renew your mind and to begin to live from this new, unshakable, heavenly identity. It changes absolutely everything. Lift your eyes, my child. I need you to lift your eyes from the small, cluttered circle of your own worries and pursuits. Look beyond your to-do list, your financial goals, and your personal anxieties. I want you to see the world for a moment as I see it. It is a vast and beautiful field, filled with people I love, people I created. But the field is also full of pain, confusion, and despair. So many are lost, hurting, stumbling through the darkness, living and dying without hope and without me. The field is ripe, the harvest is plentiful, but the time to bring it in is short. Eternity is real, my child. It is not a fairy tale. It is the most concrete reality there is, and the eternal souls of men and women, your neighbors, your colleagues, the people you see every day, hang in the balance. Now, with that reality in view, look at how you have been spending your days. You have been distracted. You have been consumed by things that will not matter in a week, let alone in eternity. You have been chasing more comfort. You have been worrying about what others think of you. You have been numbing your soul with endless entertainment. You have been passionately arguing about things that will be dust in the wind. My love, you have been meticulously rearranging the furniture on a sinking ship. You have treated my great commission, my final, most important instruction to my followers, as the great suggestion. You have filed it away as something to get to one day, when you feel more holy, when you feel more equipped, when it feels less awkward, when it's more convenient. You pray for revival, and you wait for a dramatic call to a faraway, exotic land, but you are completely missing the mission field I have placed directly in front of you. Your neighborhood is your mission field. Your workplace is your mission field. Your family is your mission field. The person with the sad eyes you see at the grocery store every week is your mission field. You are my ambassador, and you have been strategically placed by me with a divine purpose. Do not wait for a special feeling. Do not wait for a lightning bolt from the sky. You have already been called. You have already been commissioned. You have already been empowered by my Spirit. The urgency is now. Today is the day of salvation. Someone in your life is drowning, and I have given you the lifeline of the good news. Stop polishing the lifeline. Stop analyzing it. Throw it. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Will you go into the field for me today? Let us have a moment of complete honesty, you and I. The life I have called you to live is utterly impossible. It is impossible for you to consistently love your enemies. It is impossible for your heart to truly forgive those who have deeply wounded you. It is impossible for you to have a supernatural peace in the middle of a terrifying storm. It is impossible for you to remain pure in a world that is saturated with temptation. You know this is true because you have been trying. You have been trying so hard in your own strength to live this Christian life, and you are exhausted. You are constantly failing. You are trying to power a divine, supernatural machine with your own tiny, natural human battery, and it simply does not work. This is why you feel so defeated, so tired, and like such a hypocrite. But you have forgotten the greatest gift I gave to you on this side of eternity. When my Son ascended back to me, I did not leave you as orphans to fend for yourselves. I sent you a helper. I sent you a comforter. I sent you the Holy Spirit, the very Spirit of the living God, to not just be with you, but to live inside of you. The Holy Spirit is not a vague, mystical force or an occasional guzmo. He is a person, the third person of the Holy Trinity, and He is your constant companion, your guide, and your infinite source of power. You have been neglecting your relationship with Him. He is the one who convicts you of sin, not to shame you into hiding, but to lovingly lead you into the freedom of repentance. He is the one who guides you into all truth, taking my written word and making it come alive in your heart. He is the one who teaches you how to pray when you are so overwhelmed you do not know what to say. He is the one who empowers you for every single good work I have prepared for you to do, from the smallest act of kindness to the greatest act of courage. The prophets at your eyes spoke a truth that you must tattoo on the inside of your mind. It is not by your might, nor by your power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord. Your Christian life is not about trying harder. It is about surrendering more. You must learn to listen to His gentle promptings throughout your day and to yield to His divine leading. For I promise you this, and I want you to let the wonder of it sink in. Living inside of you, right now, is the exact same world-creating, sea-parting, mountain-moving, resurrection power that raised Jesus Christ from the dead. Stop trying in your own pathetic strength. It is time to plug into your true power source. You now feel the truth of your new identity and the power of my Spirit within you. To embrace this new life, but then turn away from the very word that sustains it, would disappoint me greatly. The most foundational truths about my written word and the coming storms are what I must share now. Please listen to the end. I have given you a priceless gift, my child, and you are treating it with a shocking neglect. I have given you a direct communication from my heart to yours, a perfect map for your journey through this confusing world, a sharp and powerful sword for your spiritual battles. I have given you my written word. The psalmist declared that it is a lamp for his feet and a light for his path, and you are stumbling around in the darkness because your lamp is sitting on a shelf, unopened, gathering dust. You are treating my word like an old, dusty reference book, something you might look at occasionally if you have a specific question. You are not treating it like what it truly is, your daily, essential, life-sustaining bread. Your soul is starving, and you wonder why you feel so weak, so anemic, so vulnerable to the enemy's attacks. It is because you are suffering from spiritual malnutrition. You have been feeding your mind a constant diet of junk food from the world, the empty calories of social media, the bitter poison of the news cycle, the distracting candy of mindless entertainment. This diet is making your spirit sick, and all the while, I have prepared a feast for you, the pure, nourishing, life-giving bread of life, my word, and you are choosing to starve instead. You cannot be transformed by a book you do not open, and it is not enough to just passively read a few verses to check it off your list. You must get my word deep inside of you. You must meditate on it, which means to chew on it, to think about it, to wrestle with it throughout your day. You must study it, digging for the treasures that lie beneath the surface. And you must allow it to read you, to search your heart, to expose your sin, and to transform you from the inside out. My word is your primary and most powerful weapon against the lies of the enemy. It is your unshakable anchor of truth in a world that is drowning in a sea of confusion and deception. Do not ever think of it as a static, dead book of ancient stories. It is alive and active, sharper than any double-edged sword, with the power to penetrate your soul and spirit, to judge the deepest thoughts and attitudes of your heart. I am commanding you, my child, with a loving urgency, let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. Make it your first priority, above all the other voices that clamor for your attention. Let it be the first thing you turn to in the morning, and the last thing on your mind at night. Let it shape your every thought, your every word, and your every action. Your very life depends on it. My child, I see that you are in a season of relative calm, and for this you should be deeply thankful. The waters are still, the skies are mostly clear, and you have found a comfortable rhythm. But do not be deceived by this temporary peace into a state of spiritual slumber. Do not mistake a moment of calm for the end of the war. Hear me, this is not a threat from a distant, angry God. It is a loving warning from a wise Father who sees the whole map of your life. Storms are on the horizon. They are a necessary and unavoidable part of the journey for everyone who follows me. I am telling you this now so that you can prepare. I have told you the story of the two builders, and I need you to see yourself in it right now. One man, the foolish one, built his life upon the shifting sands of his feelings, the world's popular opinions, his own limited understanding, and the pursuit of comfort. The other man, the wise one, built his life on the solid, immovable rock of my word, hearing my commands and, most importantly, putting them into practice. When the sun was shining, both houses looked identical. Both seemed stable. Both seemed secure. But the storm is what reveals the foundation. A storm is coming to your life, my child, a storm of trial where temptation were loss. And its purpose will be to test what you have been building on. You have spent much time and energy decorating the rooms of your life, ranging your career, your relationships, your hobbies. But have you been paying attention to your foundation? Have you been digging deeper into me? Or have you been building a beautiful structure on shallow ground? You must understand the purpose of the storm. The trials I allow are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to prove you. They are not meant to wash you away. They are meant to wash away everything you have been trusting in other than me. I am allowing what can be shaken in your life to be shaken, so that what cannot be shaken, your authentic, tested faith in me, will remain. A faith that has only known calm seas and sunny days cannot be trusted in a hurricane. It is an untested and fragile thing. So, now is the time to prepare. Now, while the sun is still shining, is the time to deepen your roots in me. You do not wait until the hurricane makes landfall to buy supplies and board up the windows. The time for preparation is now. Dig into my word like never before. Strengthen your prayer life beyond a simple list of requests. Build deep, authentic relationships with other believers who can hold you up when you are weak. Do the hard work of obedience now, when the stakes feel lower. And know this, my beloved, when the winds begin to howl and the rains begin to fall, I will not be watching from a safe distance. I will be in the storm with you. It will not overcome you, for I am your anchor, and I will hold. My child, you have become far too comfortable in this place. You have begun to treat this fallen, broken, and temporary world as if it were your permanent home. It is not. You have invested all of your emotional capital, all of your deepest passions, and all of your most fervent hopes into things that are, by their very nature, fading away. I see how devastated you become when your earthly plans fall apart. I see the anxiety that grips you when your financial security is threatened. I see the despair that overwhelms you when a relationship here on earth causes you pain. The reason these things have such a powerful hold on you is that you have forgotten that you are a tourist here, not a resident. You are just passing through. I need you to lift your eyes and see from my perspective. The troubles you are facing right now, the ones that feel so heavy, so permanent, and so all-consuming. In my word, I call them light and momentary afflictions. I know that from your vantage point, they feel anything but light. The pain feels crushing, and the season feels endless. But that is because you are comparing your present suffering to your desire for present comfort. I am comparing it to the eternal, breathtaking, unimaginable weight of glory that is being prepared for you in eternity. What you are experiencing now, even at its worst, is a flickering candle in the face of an eternal sun. It is a single grain of sand compared to a majestic mountain of infinite joy that awaits you. With this perspective, where are you making your primary investments? I see you storing up treasures on earth. You are working so hard for a bigger house, a nicer car, a more impressive title, a larger retirement fund. But I have warned you that here on earth, moths and rust destroy, markets crash, and thieves break in and steal. Your true treasure, your real portfolio, should be in heaven. I am calling you to transfer your assets. Invest your time, your energy, and your resources in that which is eternal, in loving others, in sharing the good news of my Son, in growing in holiness, in acts of kindness and generosity. Live each day in the light of eternity. Before you make a decision, before you get consumed by a worry, stop and ask yourself the clarifying question: will this matter in 10,000 years? You are a citizen of heaven. That is your true passport, your real home. You are merely a pilgrim traveling through this foreign land, an ambassador representing your true king and your true kingdom. Do not get so entangled in the temporary politics, passions, and pursuits of this world that you forget where your ultimate allegiance lies. Set your mind, your heart, and your hope on things above, where Christ is seated at my right hand. That is your true north. That is your true home. And now, after all we have discussed, your compromises, your fears, your wandering, your idols, I need you to hear this next truth more clearly than anything else. I need it to silence every other voice of accusation and shame in your heart. Listen to me, my beloved. No matter how far you have wandered, no matter how many times you have failed, no matter how weak you feel right now, my love for you has not wavered. It has not diminished. It has not faltered for a single, solitary moment. When you were running from me, my love was the hound of heaven, pursuing you. When you felt utterly alone and unlovable, my love was the very air you were breathing, surrounding you completely. There is no depth of sin you could ever sink to that would place you beyond the infinite reach of my love. I have made you an unbreakable promise, and it is the very bedrock upon which all of creation rests. Nothing will ever be able to separate you from my love. Not death, not life, not angels, not demons, not your fears for today or your worries about what might happen tomorrow. Not any power in hell or on earth can sever the bond of my love for you. And listen very closely to this part, not your successes and not your failures. My love for you is not a wage that you earn through good performance. If it were, you would be disqualified every single day. My love for you is a free and perfect gift, based entirely on my unchanging, gracious, good, and merciful character. It is based on who I am, not on what you do. So when you feel unlovable, when the enemy whispers his toxic lies of your worthlessness into your ear, you must stop looking at yourself, and you must turn your eyes to the cross of my Son. The cross is my eternal, unchangeable, and public declaration of your infinite worth. The cross is me, your God, shouting to all of heaven, all of earth, and all of hell, this one is worth the precious life of my only son. Do not ever insult that sacrifice by believing you are unlovable or beyond repair. So, I command your striving heart to be still. Rest. Cease your frantic and exhausting efforts to earn a love that is already, and has always been, freely and completely yours. Simply rest in the vast, immeasurable, unending ocean of my perfect love for you. And always remember, it is not my wrath that will ultimately change your heart. It is my kindness, my goodness, and my unfailing love that is meant to lead you gently back to a place of repentance and wholeness. Let my love be the safe harbor where you are free to be honest, to be broken, and to be beautifully restored. My child, you spend so much of your life trying to hide, manage, and compensate for your weaknesses. You see them as disqualifications, as shameful defects in your character that you must overcome before I can truly love or use you. You look at your quick temper, your persistent anxiety, your specific recurring sin, that area of your life where you feel perpetually stuck, and you see it as a permanent barrier between us. But I see it very differently. Your greatest weaknesses, the very areas you are most ashamed of, are the exact places where my power and grace are meant to be displayed most magnificently. They are the cracks in your carefully constructed facade where my light is meant to shine through most brightly for the world to see. My servant Paul, a giant of the faith, pleaded with me 3 times to take away a weakness in his life, a thorn in his flesh that caused him great pain and humility. And my answer to him, one of the most powerful promises in all of Scripture, is my answer to you today in your place of struggle. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in your weakness. I need you to let the radical truth of that statement rearrange your entire understanding of your spiritual life. I am not waiting for you to become strong before I can use you. I am waiting for you to finally admit that you are weak, so that my limitless strength can begin to flow through you, unhindered by your pride and self-reliance. So stop your striving for a perfection you will never achieve on this side of eternity. It is an exhausting and fruitless pursuit. Instead, I am calling you to rest in the perfection of my grace. And what is grace? Grace means that every sin you have ever committed and every sin you ever will commit has already been seen, judged, and fully punished on the cross of my Son. When I look at you, I do not see a balance sheet of your good deeds versus your bad deeds. I see the perfect, finished work of Christ. Your slate is clean. But my grace is not a passive legal declaration, nor is it a license to continue in sin. It is the very opposite. My grace is active. It is a divine empowerment. It is the supernatural ability I give you, through my Holy Spirit, to say no to the temptation that once held you captive and to say yes to the righteousness that is now your true nature. So, walk daily in the glorious, liberating freedom that my amazing grace provides. Stop hiding your weakness in shame. Instead, begin to boast in it, so that the power of Christ may rest upon you in an undeniable way. My child, I have now wrapped you in my promises of unfailing love and sufficient grace. Sight 29:30. My heart yearns for you to receive this comfort fully, but it would be a deep sorrow if you mistook this comfort for the conclusion. The final, most crucial part of our conversation, your response and your commissioning, is all that remains. Do not leave before I bless you and send you out. I know the plans I have for you. I want you to let that sentence sink into your soul. They are not vague hopes or idle wishes. They are plans, meticulously designed by your loving Creator since before time began. And I want to remind you what those plans are, because the voice of your fear and the voice of the enemy have been shouting a different, terrifying narrative. My plans for you are plans for your welfare, for your shalom, your ultimate well-being, your wholeness, not for disaster. They are plans to give you a future and a hope. The enemy, however, loves to tell you a different story. He tells you that your best days are behind you. He points to the mistakes of your past and the disappointments of your present, and he declares that your potential has been squandered. He wants you to believe that it is too late for you, that you have missed your chance to be the person you could have been, and that your future is destined to be just a pale and regretful shadow of a dream that has died. He wants you to live your life looking in the rearview mirror, consumed with what could have been. That is a lie, and it is a lie from the very pit of hell, designed to paralyze you and keep you from stepping into the glorious future I have planned. Listen to me, your Redeemer, the God who makes all things new. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Your past failures do not have the power to veto my future plans. Your past mistakes cannot disqualify you from my present purpose. My power of resurrection is not just a historical event. It is a present reality that can bring vibrant life out of the deadest, most barren places in your story. You must stop putting a period where I have only placed a comma. Your story is not over. In fact, the greatest, most glorious, and most fruitful chapters are still ahead, waiting to be written by my hand. Do not allow your past failures or your present difficulties to define your view of the beautiful future that I hold for you. Trust me with your tomorrow. I'm already there. I am already arranging circumstances, preparing hearts, and opening doors that no man can shut. Your hope in me is not a foolish, blind optimism. It is a confident and certain expectation, anchored in the two things that can never change: my perfect, unwavering character and my limitless, omnipotent power. Your future is bright, not because of who you are, but because of who I am. My child, we have been together now in this sacred quiet for some time. I have laid my heart bare before you. I have held nothing back. I have reminded you who I am and who you are to me. We have looked together at the heavy burdens you carry and the subtle ways you have wandered from my path. We have dragged the idols of your heart and the lies of the enemy into the cleansing light of my truth. I have shown you the wounds I long to heal, the unforgiveness that has you in chains, the power of your words, and the divine purpose for which you were created. I have spoken to you of my unfailing love, my sufficient grace, and my unbreakable promise of a future and a hope. I have shown you my heart. And now, my beloved, everything comes down to this single, pivotal moment. The conversation is over. A response is required. A choice is now yours. Before you stand two paths. I need you to see them clearly. One is the path you have been on. It is a wide road, and many travel it. It is paved with good intentions, but is built upon the shifting sand of self-reliance, fear, and the approval of man. It is a path of compromise, of striving in your own strength, of carrying weights you were never meant to carry. It promises comfort and control, but its true destination is a place of deep exhaustion, spiritual emptiness, and quiet despair. You know this path well. You know where it leads because you feel its effects in your soul every single day. The other path is mine. It is a narrower path. At times, it will feel more difficult. It is a path that requires you to let go of the reins. It demands a moment-by-moment trust in me, especially when you cannot see the road ahead. It will call for a courage that you do not think you possess, but that I will provide. This path is not about your performance. It is about your dependence. It is not about your perfection. It is about your surrender. But I promise you, this path, and this path alone, is the one that leads to true life, to supernatural peace, to deep, abiding joy, and to the fulfillment of your divine destiny. As I did with my people of old at the edge of their promised land, so I do with you today, right here in this holy moment. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now, I plead with you, not as a distant king, but as your loving father who desperately wants the best for you. Choose life. This is not a casual decision, like choosing what to have for dinner. This is a moment of divine alignment. This is the turning point for your soul that will have ripples throughout the rest of your days on this earth and into the vast ocean of eternity. All of heaven is watching right now, waiting for your response. Do not harden your heart. You have heard my voice. You feel the truth of my words resonating deep in your spirit. Do not let this moment pass you by. Do not say later one more time. Your genuine, unreserved, wholehearted yes to me, right here and now, will be a sound that causes a celebration among the angels and echoes in heaven forever. What will it be, my child? Will you choose your own way, or will you choose mine? Because you have whispered yes in the quiet of your heart, because you have chosen life, I now send you out from this place of divine encounter. But you do not go as you came. You do not return to the noise of your life broken, burdened, and confused. You go now with newfound clarity. You go now with a renewed and unshakable sense of your divine purpose. You go now with a fresh anointing of my Holy Spirit, a tangible sense of my presence that will be your strength and your guide. The conversation is not an end, but a new beginning. As you step out from this moment, you must hold this promise above all others, engraving it on your heart. I am with you always. I will be with you in the mundane tasks of your Monday morning. I will be with you in the unexpected crisis that tests your faith. I will be with you when you feel strong and when you feel weak. I go before you to prepare the way. I walk beside you as your constant companion, and I am behind you as your rear guard, protecting you from the attacks you do not even see. You will never, ever be alone again. And with my presence comes my peace. I now release over you my shalom, the supernatural peace of heaven. This is not the fragile peace the world offers, which is merely the absence of conflict. This is a deep, abiding peace that transcends all human understanding. Let it stand guard over your heart and your mind, like a heavenly sentinel, protecting you from the waves of anxiety and fear that will surely try to assault you as you re-enter the world. And where you feel weak, I now speak strength into your inner being. Be strong and very courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged by the size of the giants you see in the land I am calling you to influence. Do not be intimidated by the challenges that lie ahead. For I, the Lord your God, the commander of heaven's armies, the King of all creation, am with you wherever you go. So go now. Walk as a child of the light, for that is who you are. Let the fruit of my Spirit, my love, my joy, my peace, my patience, my kindness, my goodness, my faithfulness, my gentleness, and my self-control flow out of you in a way that is visible and tangible to everyone you meet. Let your life be a beautiful and compelling advertisement for my goodness. Your family, your community, a world lost in darkness. They are waiting to see a glimpse of me, and they will see it in you. My beloved, hear these final words from your Father's heart, spoken with more love than you can possibly comprehend. Well done. I am so proud of you for listening, for being still, and for choosing me. Now begin again. Walk out this new beginning, one day, one moment, one obedient step at a time, holding tightly and confidently to my hand. My child, your new beginning starts now, with your first act of worship and obedience. Before you step back into the world, seal your yes to me by anointing this mission with your faith. Your gift becomes the first fruit of your new beginning, a consecrated seed that empowers this message to reach the ends of the earth. It is your tangible declaration that my kingdom comes first, enabling this word to be a lifeline for another soul waiting for their own divine interruption. Because you have honored me with your first fruit, I will see your gift, and I will command a blessing to be given back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Give your first fruit now via Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link, and step into the abundant life I have for you. My child, this divine interruption was your lifeline. Site 1, 372, 427. Do not return to the noise unchanged. I command you to make this moment an anchor for your soul by making your response known. Let all of heaven record your choice as you boldly declare in the space below, my striving is over. I am listening. This is your first step into the new beginning I have for you. Amen.